You, the den.
Yeah, the den. Lord! Victory. Churchill.
Mark Warrington?
Yes?
Blake Haywood, one of your chaps just changed my dressing, said his sergeant came from Whitstanton. It's my hometown.
My mother lives there, an old house off the coast road. Used to belong to some people called Penworthy, who were vaguely related to Mum.
I know it.
I've only been there a couple of times. She moved there just before I was posted 3 years ago. She and Dad are sort of separated.
Yeah. I've been away 4 years. It's the first time I met anyone who even knows the place.
Okay.
Who's the character outside, by the way?
He got himself left behind when the first lot of prisoners came through after we got set up here. We use him to interpret.
An obsequious little sod, isn't he?
Would you like a beer? There's some outside in the truck.
Can a duck swim?
Lord, sir. England and Germany friends now, yeah? Together we fight the Russians.
He believes it too.
Say it'll be over any day now.
Back to Civvy Street. I can't wait, but it'll be a bit of an ordeal, especially in Whitstanton. Most of the blokes I know are in reserved occupations. The ironworks, the mine. It'll be another world to people like you and me till we get used to it again, if we ever do. Hey,
The axe went through.
God bless America.
Cheers. Cheers.
Some of the chaps back home resent the uniform. Even a British one, I'm told. Something to do with getting the girls. Fat chance I've had 4 years away. Like Tony said about the managers, the odium of capitalism with none of the rewards. What did you do before the war?
Gave me the opportunity to leave university. What about you?
Mechanic at the ironworks. You wouldn't be one of them, would you?
Them?
Well, Dad's secretary of the Whitstanton Labour Party. I think that's why he wanted us to join up. MacDonald was a pacifist. Well, the conversation at home was littered with phrases like them and us. Them were the Warringtons.
Dad's chairman of the ironworks. He's been in America for most of the war doing some job for the Ministry of Supply. I am one of them, I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid. I have another ordeal to face back home. Telling Dad I've left the ranks of the faithful.
Same here.
What a lot bloody war it's been, eh? I'll lose me rank and go back to being a political misfit at the ironworks, and you'll don your bowler and preach socialism to the flesh pots. Oh, well, thanks for the beer. I might bump into you back home sometime.
Look, I'm going on leave in 2 weeks' time.
God knows when I'll get back. I just want the end to come while I'm still in one piece. You wouldn't do something for me, would you, when you do go? Would you just call at home and tell the folks you saw me? You know what mums are.
Yes, of course.
I'll give you the address. It's a big house, stands on its own by the sea. It's fallen apart when I left. God knows what state it's in now. Mum's old man left it to her empty. They couldn't afford furniture, so they filled it with us. 6 of us.
Great day, Haywood. Aye, is that all right? Yeah.
Young Ainscott, wasn't it? Where did he get the petrol?
Civil defence. He only did it for the petrol. It's the last smile I'll get out of him, I reckon. I hear he's been shortlisted for the Conservative Party candidate. One war's over, t'other's still on.
There was a letter this morning. Someone's coming to see us. Someone local who met Blake in Germany. Blake asked him to come and see us when he came on leave, so he's coming today.
That's good of him, to put himself out on VE Day.
He's a Warrington.
A Warrington? What, ironworks Warrington?
Son of the chairman, Blake says.
Well, what's he want with us?
He's putting himself to the trouble of coming to see us on VE Day because Blake asked him to. Like you said, it's good of him. Don't you be like the Ainscoffs of this world.
Does he know I'm one of his father's wages clerks?
I dare say Blake told him. Why shouldn't he? It's an honest job.
What paid like an honest job should be paid. Where would we have been without you giving music lessons? Peg doing a part-time job at the library. Blake and Keir fighting for their country for a pittance. That Owen gave his life for.
Blake never asked any more if you've heard about Owen. He hasn't asked for a year or more now.
Well, he knows what we know then, what we've faced up to. Haven't we?
I know now why we go through the ritual of a funeral. It's hard to believe. We want to reject it. If there'd been a grave, we could visit even, but... Yes, I know it now.
I'll tell you something then. I went on hoping long after I said we shouldn't.
You think I don't know you did?
It's hard to believe that it's all over, isn't it?
What comes now? The promised land? You did that yesterday.
Did I? I'd forgotten.
You do too much on top of a job.
Well, you should charge me rent. Then I'd not feel beholden.
Charge me daughter rent?
Daughter-in-law?
There's no difference to me, you know that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Since we knew it was over, I mean definitely over, it's reminded me.
Owen?
I'd forgotten in a way. Makes me feel guilty remembering.
Because of Ernst? We know and we understand. I thought that was clear.
Oh, you might, but the rest in Whitstanton won't.
Who else knows except the people where you work, the Galways?
I don't know. When I walk down the street, I feel as if everybody knows. It'll be all round eventually anyway. You know what they're like round here. Mum and Dad'll be the worst.
Doesn't matter to us what they think. Owen was our son, not theirs.
I'm glad I was straight with you from the beginning. Well, almost the beginning. After I was sure myself. It wasn't that I stopped caring for Owen. You know that, don't you? I started to care for somebody else as well. Flesh and blood, not a ghost. George was shocked a bit at first, wasn't he?
Men don't understand that women think, feel the same as they do about some things. They don't like to think we do anyway.
They shouldn't have said missing believed killed. It's not enough, is it? You can't start again with that. Shape your life again. Will you take Colin to the street party with you?
Why, are you going to see Ernst?
Yeah. It's Victory Day for him too, you know. Even if he did fight for the Germans. He had a bad time in the war. Worse for him than us, really.
Yes. Must have been worse for him, I suppose. In a way.
You've forgotten the king.
Oh, my God, we've forgotten the king.
How long?
1 minute, if that clock's right.
I'll go and turn it on.
Go and tell your father. Tell him to tell your grandfather.
Mum, can I play by the sea?
You can play on the sand, but not by the sea. Can't be keeping an eye on you all the time. We're waiting for the king.
The king? Dad, the king!
You what?
The king!
Oh, good God, I'd forgotten.
And Mum says to tell Grandad.
Hey! I can't. Tell your grandfather.
Why not?
He's gone back.
Gone back where?
In his room. He says he only joined us for the duration. Now that it's over, he's going back.
I don't see why you can't tell him.
Because he's not speaking to me. We're back to normal, he says. Coalition's over, he says.
Not politics again.
Well, you know what he's like.
I know what you're like. Well, I'm not telling him. Do your own dirty work.
Where's Lovett?
He'll be with his grandfather. Oh, I wish George would leave this clock to me. I never know whether he's put it right or not. Not since double summertime.
Dad? Oh, come on, Dad. I know you're in there.
Eight bells and all's well.
Dad!
What do you want?
The king!
Oh, I don't need telling. I have him in here.
Yeah, well, we ought to listen together. It's history.
If we listen together, it'll be history. By God, it would. Hypocrite, anti-monarchist, anti-Christ.
That wasn't nice, Grandad.
What?
What you said to Dad wasn't nice.
No, well, happened it wasn't, but it were true, though. Ask him yourself if you don't believe me. Any roads, he shouldn't argue politics with me.
You mean he should agree with you?
Aye. No, I mean he should steer clear. And he should ring the bell, not knock. What does he think I put it there for? Oh, he hates yon Bill. Aye, let's see. I've got it. He'll be on in a minute. War's over, Lovett.
Oh, 7 when it started.
Aye, and now you're an old fella. 3 wars I've lived through. Changes you'll never see. There's not left to change now except human nature, and they'll never change that.
That damn bell. Who let him put it up?
You did, so he'd feel independent. You've spoiled him. He can twist you round his little finger when he wants anything from you.
Anti-monarchist, he called me. Anti-Christ.
You are, aren't you? Can't think why you want to listen to this.
This is history. History's a fact. It's happening. It's a fact. Turn it up a bit, Cole.
This is London. His Majesty King George VI.
Today, we give thanks to Almighty God for a great deliverance. Speaking from our empire's oldest capital city, a war battered, but never for one moment daunted or dismayed. In the Far East, we have yet to deal with the Japanese, a determined and thorough foe. But at this hour, when the dreadful shadow of war has passed far from our hearts and homes in these islands, we may at last make one pause for thanksgiving and then turn our thoughts to the tasks all over the world. But let us remember those who will not come back. Their constancy and courage in battle, their sacrifice and endurance in the face of a merciless enemy. There is great comfort in the thought that the years of darkness and danger in which the children of our country.
Yes?
Oh, hello. My name's Warrington.
Oh, hello. We're listening to the King.
Oh, well, look,
You better come in.
Thank you.
We shall have failed, and the blood of our dearest will have flowed in vain.
My name's...
With the victory, they died to win. Does not leave the lasting peace
Just sit down.
founded on justice and goodwill. And in this hour of victory, to commit ourselves and our new task to the guidance of that same strong hand.
Amen.
Is that all, Grandad?
Well, what do you want for tuppence?
Blake? Robert's found a billet for us. 6 bedrooms just for the 2 of us. I've chosen the one with the Wagnerian paintings on the walls. I'm looking forward to some pleasantly erotic dreams.
Well, remember what Churchill said? Facts are better than dreams.
In the absence of facts, I mean.
Well, there are hundreds of facts streaming down the road out there, fleeing from Ivan. Some magnificent Brunhilde types, all pure Aryan blood, cream of German society. That's all that's left, from what I've heard. They've got rid of the rest.
You've been listening to the rumours about the Ruskies?
Rumours from a pretty reliable source. I'm ready to believe them anyway, pending the proof, which I'm sure will be forthcoming.
Well, you couldn't anyway, could you? I mean, not with your pure upbringing. Eton, or was it Harrow? Those iron dormitories, those narrow virgin beds.
I couldn't do what?
Alleviate your frustration on the promise of protecting some basically innocent female from the rape of the bear.
Well, I bet you wouldn't bloody well hesitate, would you?
In my rough peasant upbringing, of course not. But we were talking about you.
You're an odd beggar, Blake. You play the piano. I've even heard you quote poetry.
Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird that never went. It's a game. I'm learning, you see. Your vocabulary, slightly temper the accent, drop a few names. The piano, I owe to Mother. Bless her. God, do I want to get home. Funny. I can't get used to the idea, can you? It's actually over. So quiet out there, it's more like autumn than spring. There's a kind of death in the air. Europe, dead. The ruin, the corpses. Women fleeing from rape, kids starving. What's it done to us up here, do you think, these last few years?
I don't suppose we'll find that out till we get back to normality.
Celebrations tonight? By God, I'll bet they're celebrating tonight at home. All those bloody civilians, those fly bastards who got themselves leave. All those girls, Waters, wanting a last fling with a uniform. And here we are in this bloody monastery.
Well, there's always Brunhilde.
Sod Brunhilde, strictly for boating anyway. She'll have to learn to love Jerry in his socks by the light of burning jackboots. Come on, I'll show you upstairs. We'll see what Roberts has got laid on for tonight.
Well, sod all, I suspect.
Yeah. It will be happening in the sergeant's mess tonight. When you're ready, we'll go.
Come on, Carl. We're going to Uncle Don's street party.
He loves it out here. Goes deaf when you tell him it's time to go. He's awkward, like Grandad.
You say the mines are behind this wall?
Yes, they built that to keep the sea out. I thought you lived round here.
My mother's lived up the coast for the last 3 years or so. I've only been there a couple of times when I was small. Except today, of course.
Did the neighbours say where your mum had gone to in London?
No, but I'll find out when I go down tomorrow.
It was good of you to come. Blake's mum's favourite. Well, she'd say she hasn't a favourite, but he is.
You've other brothers?
I had 5. Ramsay, he died years ago, scarlet fever. Blake you've met. Keir's in the RAF. Oh, and you'll meet Lovett later. He's only 12. Owen was in the regular army. He was at Singapore. He was supposed to be taken prisoner by the Japs, but then they said he was presumed dead. Come on, Carl! Cole's his son. He was great, Owen.
Your favourite?
Maybe. He wasn't a bit like you.
Oh.
He was big and bouncy, always talking and laughing. You're a bit of a shy one, aren't you?
Am I?
What have you got?
Where's the visitor?
Cole wanted Peg to take him down to the beach and he went with him.
Seems a nice lad. Says Blake looked well.
Sergeant of Warrington. I expected a major at least. He must be the black sheep of the family.
I'm sure he isn't.
I meant it in his favour.
They'd have been married now, probably, if it hadn't been for the war. Blake, Keir, with all that to come.
Things won't get better overnight, you know.
They'll come home. I can wait for the rest. By the way, you'll be on march for the rest of the week after tonight.
Yeah, well, don't expect him back too soon. You heard what he said in the wireless? The war in the Far East is still to be won. The RAF won't let Keir go till that's over and done with. Still, Blake ought to be back pretty soon.
Well, June Kelly's daughter's back already. You know, that one that went in the nursing reserve.
Yeah, well, they want the nurses back in the hospitals to get this beverage plan working. The one he's been waiting for.
Me?
Hanging on to his teeth like grim death. If they fell out, I reckon he'd stick 'em back in, pending beverage.
Country can't afford it.
Well, you'll be the first in the queue, you know damn well you will. Anyway, tourists pay lip service to beverage. Not that we'll get it if they get in.
As they will. Can't he turn his back on Churchill after what he's brought us through?
Ah, but he's got the same old gang all around him. Anyway, the lads will not have it. The lads at the fort will not have it. Not them that went to war all skin and bone, their ribs sticking out as they're stripped off for the medicals. Fetched up off the scrap heap to fight for the country that had put them there.
Aye, and what's the first thing they want when it's over? To be free. Free of them that tell them to do as they want, so long as they do as they're told. What they told us we were fighting for? Freedom? We put it in pawn while we fought for it. We want it redeemed. We won't be kept in chains as your lot would have us.
And you call yourself a working man?
Ah, work free, not in chains.
Well, you were chained to poverty for most of your working life.
I work free. Free. Free I worked. Free. I work free.
You were right. One more ends, another begins.
Been going on all my life, this one. I was going to give him one of those bottles, too, that I've been saving for this very day.
Where are they?
In the cupboard under the stairs.
Take one to him, then.
Nay.
You'll have no peace with yourself if you don't.
You know, don't you? Even though you're part side with him, you know.
Yes, I know.
Remember when I was a kid? Seeing him come home all worn out, weary from working too long for a pittance. And he damns me that I gave myself for socialism. I did it because of him. And it's come between us. Why?
Take it to him.
I'll not be going till you've gone. I thought I'd get Colin ready first. They're just coming back.
Why can't you take Colin with you?
He missed the street party.
Oh, well, perhaps some other time.
You wouldn't mind?
Why should I? Let's make this a good day, shall we? A new start.
We've got to learn to live together, Dad.
Ah,
To learn to live together, like he said on the wireless. To do nothing unworthy of them that died for us. To make a world as they would have wanted for their kids and ours.
Oh, sure.
I didn't catch what you said.
I said we lived together for over 50 years. I said I'm over 70 and I know more about life than you young'uns if you live to be 100. Southwest to where Ironworks Jimmy comes in line with the shipyard tower.
You what?
I'm plotting a course to Sealport.
Well, you can't take the boat out.
The war's over, isn't it?
The estuary will not be free to us for months yet. A year or two, maybe.
It won't if you lot gets back in again. Why shouldn't it be free to us? There's been no mines laid along this coast. And beaches is clear apart from those towards range.
They're not officially clear.
Yeah. Oh, I don't recognise officials. Canoes.
No, Dad.
They're canoes, I said. They'd stand there telling Ty to go back with officials and prove it had done on paper. With their trousers legs rolled up.
Here. I brought you something. Miss Whiskey, I've had it put by for months.
Liquid gold. Heard about the chap that got a bottle from under the counter at the can club. On his way home, he fell. Put his hand down, felt his leg wet. Got out his torch, looked. Thank God, he said, it's blood.
Well, there you are, it's for you. To celebrate. It's a great day, Dad. Let's not sour it.
Aye, it's good stuff. When do you think they'll stop petrol rationing, then?
Are you still thinking of the boat, are you?
It's all I look forward to when I retired. I could have made myself useful if they'd let me, you know. I would have gone to Dunkirk if they'd let me have petrol.
You'd have just about got there for D-Day in that thing.
Aye, happens so.
Mum's is ready. Can you come?
Well, off you go, then.
Aren't you coming, Grandad?
No, I don't care for celebrations. I've seen too many sour and promises that come after. A cow and an acre, Lord George promised us. A land fit for heroes. There's only one thing that'll come after this lot. Same as follows the Lord Mayor's procession. The Corporation Muck Cart. Oh, I'm off to polish me engine.
I think you'd sooner go with you, Dad, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, off you go if you must.
See you later, then.
Aye, unless we see you first.
It's a pity we can't make it go, Grandad.
You've never been out there, have you? Oh, I forgot. It's a different world out there. Away from the rubbish in life. We'll be off, thee and me, when petrol comes back.
Where have you been, looting?
Negotiating with Roberts. Don't seem to be any official celebration, so I thought we might as well celebrate here. Quite a lot of goodies, a few bottles. Where is she?
In my room.
My God, you don't hang about, do you?
She's in, I'm out. It seems I'd moved into hers by mistake, so I've moved into one of the others. English gentleman that I am. I've not just adopted your accent, I've adopted your tactics as well. Before the attack, appear to drop your defences.
Has she been any more forthcoming? Conversationally, I mean.
Ja and nein were the words most used, and with an eye to future developments, I pretended not to notice the difference.
Her English seemed pretty good to me.
I've suspicion she regrets letting us know that.
Or maybe she's got someone hidden in the attic. Or a husband, possibly. Colonel in the SS.
Go to the house. I mean, you'd have to be faithful to the Führer to hang on to a den like this.
Do you think we'd better look?
I've had this uneasy feeling somewhere around the middle of my back ever since we heard it was over. That last stray shot across no man's land after hostilities have ceased is when you congratulate yourself on having survived. You know Ramsden lost both his eyes in that last tank battle.
Yes, I heard. Where's the kitchen?
Straight along the hall. Did you get any clue as to how long we're supposed to be staying here?
It's a bit uncertain, I think. I got the impression we might be pulling back. It seems we're on the Russian side of the Yalta line.
The politicians are taking over again, Waters. Drink.
Yes, thanks.
I think maybe we'd better not say anything about that to her, don't you?
We move out and the Ruskies move in, you mean?
What have you heard about our glorious allies, anyway?
Some pretty bloody awful things, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have asked permission.
Why should you? You have won the war. Everything we have is yours. Is it not?
I doubt if we're going to think of it quite like that.
Why not? After the last war, you took everything. After Versailles, 7 million people you took from us. Billions of pounds in reparations.
To stop another war.
It gave us inflation. Unemployment. Out of all that, to save us came the Führer, came the war, the one you wished to stop.
Those people on the run out there. The dead in the streets. That's a big price to pay for the Führer.
Your gift to us from Versailles, as he was.
These camps that we've overrun. Maybe you've not heard of them yet. Gas chambers to destroy people, ovens to burn them, mass murder factories. Were they our gift from Versailles?
I know of no such places.
I hope that's true. I'm sorry. I've been away from home for nearly 5 years, thanks to your Führer. One day we shall have to talk about these things. I don't think this is the time, do you?
Better to play the piano, you think?
Yes. Better to play the piano. Would you like a drink?
You play well, for an English gentleman.
I'm not an English gentleman. We ran out of the officer class. I've spent 4 years in officers' messes. Mutton dressed up as lamb, Grandad would say.
I don't understand.
Now this is your pucker English gentleman, the real thing. Eton or Harrow, if not both. That's where wars are won, on the playing fields of Eton.
Oh, crap, Blake.
Yeah, well, I know it is, and so do you. But England doesn't.
Cheers.
Cheers.
They'll be hanging from the lampposts outside Buckingham Palace now.
You are hanging people outside Buckingham Palace?
Oh dear, now we've upset her.
She half believed it.
She'd have believed it completely if I'd said outside the Elephant and Castle instead of outside Buckingham Palace. If she'll believe that, she'll believe anything.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it, eh?
What?
I mean, after this, we will believe anything. How much do you believe about what we hear about the Russians?
Well, most of it.
And about the Germans?
Most.
About us?
Oh, it's been a different kind of war for us. No, I'm not ducking the issue. I believe we've the capacity to do these things.
In the kitchen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have asked. I'm not a bad cook, you see, and I don't often get a chance these days. So we thought Blake and
I have no money. None at all. But if there is anything in the house, if there is anything I have which you would want, I'm sorry. What I said about Versailles. It is not for me to say such things. We've lost the war. Everything is yours. 3 weeks ago I went to Berlin. You see, I had had no news from my father. The destruction was terrible. It is not as here. In Potsdamer Platz, the tanks and trucks are driving over the dead people. My father's flat was destroyed. He is probably dead. No old person could live in that horror. Many times in the queue for bread, women and children next to me were shot. By planes, by snipers. And the queue simply reformed. Over the bodies. We went on queuing for bread. I'm sorry what I said about the Führer, that he saved us. I spit on the Führer, see? I spit. I spit. I spit on him. Oh, my God. Women and children sheltered in the subway tunnels off the railway. The engineers flooded the tunnels because they feared the Russians would come through them. The women and children were drowned. You could see them through the shell holes in the streets, layers deep. I have some small things of value.
Oh, thank you.
I hid them. You shall have them. No, please hear me. Let me do this. Let me tell. My husband died in Russia a year ago in the army. His letters at the end were terrible, without hope. This was his. And this watch. We went on queuing over the bodies for bread. I have not had food now for 3 days. Why do I want food? Food is life. Life. I should want life. Why do I want life?
I couldn't settle down either when I came home after the last lot in 1918. I was here in the flesh, all right, but I was miles away up here in my head. Yes, I'd changed more than the people I came back to had, you see. Yes, it took me a fair old time to get settled again. There was a gap between me and them as hadn't been.
Sort of class difference?
Yeah. Yes, you could say that in a way, I suppose. It's no good asking you how much Blake's changed, because you didn't know him before, of course. His letters don't tell us much. He was never much of a letter writer. Still, they've been coming regularly, so it's kept his mother happy. I've missed him. We were just beginning to get to know one another, I think.
I didn't see much of my parents before the war. I was away at school, you see. I hope all that's going to change now, that pre-war world.
Want a land fit for heroes?
I settled for a land fit for decent ordinary people, I think, and damn the old order.
You'd not get ideas like that at boarding school.
Nor at home, I'm afraid. They wouldn't take me seriously, of course. They'd put it down to the war, delayed adolescence. One of the stages to be gone through before you come round to seeing things their way. You know the saying, breathes there a man with soul so dead who wasn't in the 30s red.
Yeah, they'll still be fond of you, though. Maybe it's better to agree to disagree than live in a house where the doors are slamming all the time, to say nothing of bells ringing.
I like your house. I doubt if a few doors slamming will shake the foundation.
Nay, we've never been able to afford that place, and yet we've never been able to sell it. If we had them, damned if I know where we'd have put everybody. It's been a bit like a vacuum, I suppose. They say nature abhors a vacuum, don't they? What's it like in Europe?
It's terrible. In Germany, waste, devastation, millions of people with nowhere to go back to. And they brought it on themselves, of course.
Well, they let it happen. It's a few that does it, the many that lets it happen. We've never known that here. Apart from the bombing, never known occupation. Defeat, I mean. We've always believed we'd muddle through somehow. And we still don't know what it's like not to muddle through. I hope to God we never will.
She's doing too much again.
I know, I've been watching her.
No good me talking to her. She only listens to you.
Oh, she listens to me less these days. She pretends to listen. A smile on her face. Grabbing at life. Holding on.
What do you reckon to it, Lovett?
Bang on, Grandad.
Bang on, bang on? What the hell does bang on mean?
What Kay kept saying when he first joined the RAF.
I know what he said, but I damn well don't know is what he meant by it.
He meant bang on. Wizard. I should have liked to have gone in the RAF.
You should thank God you're being spared.
You believe in God, don't you, Grandad?
Aye, I do, and Satan, and hellfire, and damnation. Angels and archangels, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Ten Commandments, and the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry.
The engine stopped, Grandad.
Aye, so it has, Lovett, so it has.
The happiest part of my youth was spent in the kitchen with our cook, Betty.
We don't wish to hear your revolting revelations.
Well, I don't mean my youth so much as, well, my childhood, really.
Worse.
Oh, she was 60-odd.
Disgusting.
She mothered me. That's probably where I get my love of the proletariat.
Somebody please tell them that the bloody war's over.
The werewolf people.
I don't believe in them in spite of what we've heard. There isn't going to be any underground resistance here. They've had it and they know it.
It's at the front of the house.
It's probably some half-crazed DP. Leave it to the poor sods who haven't been stood down. Let's start, shall we, eh?
It'll be dark soon, Grandad.
There's light enough yet. When it gets dark, I'll light this lantern.
Has it paraffin in it?
Yeah, acetylene is this, Lovett. Like we used down the mine. Now, there's a black hole for you, if you like. No fear of gas, though, like the pits I worked in when I was a lad. It's different to coal, is iron.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, it doesn't burn like coal does.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Yes, Grandad.
Well, I'll let you off this time, you young monkey, seeing it's you. Your dad'll give us some stick bringing you out here.
I'll tell him I stowed away.
He'll believe you too, I don't think.
You and Dad argue a lot, don't you, Grandad?
Well, I can't deny it, can I? Since you've heard us going on. He's an idealist, is your dad. He believes in a better world.
Don't you?
Yeah, I do, but it's far removed from this vale of tears. Heaven on earth, not in my lifetime or yours. He thinks he can bring it about overnight by using a big stick and a carrot to make us all toe the line. He might make a bit headier with a stick, but carrot will just get eaten. It's up there is heaven, Lovett. In yon starry sky. That's the only heaven I know about.
What's that over there, Grandad?
Oh, they've lit a bonfire in Whitstanton to burn Adolf Hitler on.
I wish I was there.
Oh, I'm surprised at you, Lovett. What's wrong with out here?
I don't want to go to heaven just yet, Grandad.
Oh, we shall not go just yet, Lovett. And I'm not in what you might call a state of readiness myself. A stoker in t'other place, more like, is what I've trained for.
1, 2, 3!
I think we ought to get back now, don't you?
It's only just started.
Come on, it's been a good day. Let's not spoil it.
You'll see it home safe, won't you?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I'm to have a military escort now, am I?
Right, we'll see you back there then.
I hope it's not going to be too late. I'm supposed to be delicate. I suppose they've told you.
Your father told me you had some heart complaint.
Oh, I had scarlet fever when Ramsay did. He died and it left me with this. It's nothing serious. They make too much of it.
They care for you.
I bet your parents don't coddle you.
No. No, they don't, as a matter of fact. They never did. They just lumped me at school and left me to survive. I was ready for the army. The iron beds, the life you live in your head when the talking's died down.
Will you light the lamp now, Grandad?
Aye, I'll light it now, Lovett.
Frau Winkel.
No, please.
It has a certain medicinal value, you know. Relaxes tension and so on.
The world through rose-coloured glasses. Probably get it free on prescription when the new order comes. Wouldn't you say so, Waters?
Oh, it'd be nice to think so.
My old man will work his guts out for it when the election comes. A brave new world for heroes like you and I.
Oh, good for him.
He'll be out there, trudging the streets, banging on the doors, arguing his head off on the doorsteps.
He'll win, too, in the end. If not this time, next.
There speaks a man of faith.
Oh, it's logical. It's part of the historical process.
Like the war?
Oh, maybe.
Well, how long do we have to go on suffering this historical process? When's the millennium due, Waters?
Oh, we go on. One step back. We make progress.
I'm glad to hear you say so, old boy. I've been acquiring the opposite impression, actually. Just shows how wrong you can be. I mean, who am I to argue with a public school education?
I don't think we have to bring that into it, Blake. The war's put an end to all that.
Like hell it has.
Oh, look, I think you've had enough, don't you?
Now, that's one thing I can't decide for myself. The Russians aren't here yet.
The war's over, Blake.
If they came, they would do to us what we did to them. He came on leave, my husband, in the good times when the Russians were retreating, when it seemed that nothing could stop us reaching Moscow. The good times. But he did not seem victorious. We sat at his table, with friends, in the good times.
Captain Waters?
Oh, that must be Robertson. Excuse me, Frau Winkel.
How civilized it was, sitting here with our friends. How strange it must have seemed to him. He had seen what I now have seen. Worse. He spoke of whole Russian villages left to starve in the advance. Of atrocities. He was ashamed. They did not wish to know, but he insisted. They just shot Russian partisans. They took no prisoners. Then one day they came where Russian partisans had caught our own troops, had stripped them naked in the snow except for their helmets, had poured water over them until they froze in a solid block of ice. Hate breeds hate. Is that not so? It goes on getting worse and worse. Is that not so? I'm glad he was ashamed.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm tired. If you will excuse me also.
Oh, yes, of course.
Gute Nacht.
Good night.
Good night.
I think I'll get my head down as well.
Good luck.
What? Her? Good God, what do you take me for, Waters? You're not the type, anyway.
Smitten?
I don't propose to behave like our glorious allies, that's all.
You may as well, from what I've just heard from Roberts. We're pulling back to a new line, eventually. We're letting the Ruskies in. It's a fact now, not just a fear.
Section 300, in the Dewey system.
The Dewey system?
It's the system we use at the library to categorise the books. Section 300 covers general politics. Most of these I've ordered from time to time.
He reads a lot?
Lord knows where he gets the time the committees he's on. He joins committees like some women join queues. If there's a queue, there must be something good at the end of it. Surprises you, does it? To find a working class man reading intelligently.
That was pre-war me.
Oh, two of you are there.
You probably won't believe me, but before I went in the army, if anybody had told me the working class spoke a different language, I'd probably have believed them. I suppose accent is a kind of language. I hate mine.
I don't. I like it. Suits you. Now you've gone shy on me again.
I liked your brother.
Blake's changed his ideas. I can see it between the lines in his letters. I don't think Dad does. They used to agree about practically everything. I'm dreading him coming back in a way.
The war's changed a lot of people. It's changed a lot of my own ideas about things.
I don't give a damn about politics or class. The war's changed all that.
I wonder if it has. I'd like to think so. I'm not an optimist like you, though.
Oh, I'm an optimist, am I?
You enjoy life, don't you?
Don't you?
Oh, hello. The boat's gone. For God's sake, don't tell your mother. Your grandfather's out in it with Lovett. I phoned Bill Withers, the Coast Guard, from the telephone box down the road. They've spotted a light in the estuary. The engine must have stopped.
Well, where did they get the petrol?
God knows where he got... Hang on. There were three of them. Oh, nay, he'd never tried running it on Scotchwood. He'll have traded it with Crockett. They say worse, fool got caught because he broke down running on Crockett's adulterated black market stuff. Well, the silly old devil, it'll serve him right. I told him the estuary wasn't free. Doesn't he know there's a war on?
It's over, Dad. But we never get used to it.
For those in peril on the sea, we'll be all right when dawn comes. Oh, he'll see us through. He's up there watching over us.
Where's do you think that's bound, Harry lad?
Is it thee, Lord?
It's Bill Withers. Don't you know there's a bloody war on?
Sergeant, foreman in the bedroom. Fire.
Just fired in the air, sir. To scare the old crap.
You scared him to death, Sergeant. Too old to run, poor old devil. He must have been terrified.
For a pound of butter. Christ.
Get him in the truck.
How much longer we got to stay in this godforsaken country, sir?
We'll be moving on before long. Beyond the Yalta line.
And let Joe Stallin's lads know.
Some people might think he's been spared a fate worse than death, I dare say. God, I can't wait to get home.
Do you always get up this early?
Longest day of the year in 2 days' time.
I hope they didn't mind me just dropping in yesterday. I didn't expect to stay here. I meant to spend the night at Mother's place.
You shouldn't have told Mum your family were away then. She wouldn't let you stay there on your own. She looks on you as one of us now.
Does she?
You can do no wrong. Going out of your way to call at our humble abode, bringing her news of a son in Germany. It's good of you to come and see her again on your way back off leave.
To be perfectly honest, it wasn't exactly on the way.
No? You know, I couldn't work out myself how Whitstanton came to be situated halfway between Euston and Victoria Station. I always thought we were somewhere in Cumberland.
I just thought I'd like to see you all again. You see what I mean?
I'm supposed to have very good eyesight. Better than yours, I'll bet. See that man on the beach over there?
No.
He's gone behind the sea wall.
Now you're pulling my leg.
I'm not, actually. Though I could easily. You're so shy sometimes, aren't you? You shouldn't be. Life's very short, you know.
Variat. War is over.
Skintilash! Skintilash! Skintilash!
You were right, I can hear someone shouting.
They're like that, Ukrainians.
You couldn't possibly tell he's Ukrainian at this distance.
I'm supposed to have very good hearing and a masterly grasp of languages. No, it's cheating. I know who he is. He walks 5 miles here every morning from the POW camp down the coast to meet a lady. There's devotion for you.
You?
Me? All I seem to inspire is shyness, not devotion. No, it's my brother's wife. They both work at a farm down the coast.
There are so many of you. Keir, was it?
Owen. He was killed in the first year of the war. Dear Owen. Come on, then.
Make sure the Japs aren't still around. Nothing we can do for these poor sods.
Sergeant! It's my leg. I lay doggo, or the Japs have finished me off like the others. Are they all?
Yeah.
There's a bloke over there, Sergeant RAF. He made some sort of noise just before you came.
Hold on. Crosby! Come and look at this leg!
I'll forget about breakfast this morning. I'm late.
You can't go to work on an empty stomach.
It's not that. It's Ernst. I think I've gone.
We saw him coming just now. He'll only just have got there. I'll go and ask him to wait.
Or I'll bring him back here if you like. He won't want to come here. He's shy.
What, another one? All right, then. I'll keep him company till you come. I don't have to be at the library till 11. What time's your train?
Have ours yet?
Well, you've only got to get from Euston to Victoria, haven't you?
What do you mean by that?
I think she was pulling my leg.
You told her about Ernst, then?
Yes, we told her.
She loved Owen.
We all loved Owen, but Owen's dead. And she blames the Japanese, not you, that somebody's taken his empty place. Life goes on, how could it be otherwise? The war's over. Except for people like Keir, and it'll be over for them too before long.
We hope.
Oh, the Japanese can't hold out much longer. It's just a question of time, that's all. And it's time we got stuck into the peace. There's an election in less than 2 weeks.
And that'll solve everything, will it?
It'll shape the future. It'll do that for better or for worse. You can't expect the fruits of victory overnight. Facts are facts.
Like these on your plate, you mean?
Well, there's plenty worse off than us. I bet there's many a German will be glad of this.
They started it, not us.
They didn't all the victual. When the dam breaks, you get carried along in the flood. The innocent as well as the guilty.
She gets tea in bed now, does she? Your Frau?
Jealous.
Yeah, not really. Best billets we've had. Quite a jolly little family we've turned into. I just wish she wouldn't call me by my surname, that's all. It makes me feel like the butler. What does she call you when you're alone? Lieb something or other, is it? Mein Liebling?
Mind your own damn business.
Quite a reversal these last few weeks. I watched it with interest. To hell with the Fraus and Frauleins, he used to say, biting on his enforced celibacy. Let them learn to love Jerry in his socks by the light of burning jackboots.
Dry up.
I've been to Brigade HQ, by the way.
Yeah, you're there every morning when they open shop. Can't wait to get home, can ya?
Well, neither could you before you started to fraternize.
I don't like that word. It's dirty.
Well, that's what they want, Blake. A dirty word. The skies would open if they knew about this. I don't want to see you in trouble, old man, that's all. Anyway, we'll be moving on before long. The Russians will be using this kitchen. Odd thought, isn't it?
They've not set a date, Brigade.
Well, not that anyone's told me. She does know it's going to happen, doesn't she?
I shall tell her when the time comes.
I hate to think of her left to the tender mercies of our glorious allies. I've grown quite fond of the lady. In a purely platonic way, of course. I'd worry about you, though, if I didn't know you've too much sense than to let it get serious. You are keeping it under control, aren't you, old man?
You think I should, do you?
Well, hell, Blake, there's no future in it, is there?
If you're Ukrainian, How come you were fighting for the Germans?
Sit down. We are not an island like you. We live with the Russians on one side and the Germans on the other. Come the war, the Russians took our country. They began to collectivize us, to change us from Ukrainian to Russian, even our language. They took my family from the house where we lived. Then came the Germans, breaking their pact with the Russians. We changed masters, you see. They promised us we would only fight the Russians. But some they sent to France. There I become prisoner. You understand, huh?
No. I understand what you say, of course, but I don't understand how awful it must have been. The war was easy for us at home compared to people in Europe, except for people in the cities that were bombed.
Your soldiers, when they come home, will tell you what it was like.
We won't listen, though. We never do. We live on an island. We have the odd war. We muddle through. And then we forget. We're great forgetters.
Not from this time, I think.
Are they starving in England?
No. The rations are small. Less since the war ended, I'm told.
What is it like where you live?
Small town in the north. Shabby, mucky, industrial. An untidiness of dirty streets. But tidy, clean, warm people. They live just outside by the sea. My granddad left us a house. We can't afford it, but I loved it when I was there. I was a kid, playing by the sea.
You want to go home? Who would not? This is my home. When you go, I will be alone in it.
You want to stay here?
It's my home. There will be ghosts. All over Germany there are ghosts. My husband, who died on the Russian front. And you. You will also be a ghost.
Is that what you want?
It's what I have.
Suppose you were asked to leave here.
For what reason?
Oh, any reason.
Where would I go?
Oh, you said you had relatives to the west.
Why should I go to them?
If there was fighting here.
Fighting?
Oh, Europe's in such a mess.
But fighting? Why? The war is finished. It's done.
I want you to think about the possibility that there could be a time when it might be wiser not to stay.
There is my father.
Yes. I got the print of his photograph. It's in my valise downstairs.
All over Germany they are nailed up. These faces. On the doors of dead houses. Has anyone seen this person? A name? An address? Dead faces.
Hey, there's always hope.
When I came here that day, when you and Waters arrived, then I had no hope.
Yes, I know.
You knew?
Yes.
Is that why you... Is that why you give me hope? Something you would have done for anyone?
Is that what you believe?
No. Funny man.
Funny.
When I ask a question, you answer with a question, funny man.
Funny ha-ha or funny peculiar.
What?
It's a saying. One day I'll explain it.
One day before you go?
Yes, one day before I go. I have to go now, but I won't be long.
Do you think they'll be able to marry?
Well, why not? Eventually. It happened after the last lot.
Will they let him stay in the country?
Well, he's not really a prisoner of war. He's more a refugee, and we've always opened our doors to refugees.
It's his birthday next week, Ernst. I thought I've asked Jean to invite him here. Do you mind?
No, it's a good idea.
I've come for Grandad's breakfast.
Oh, no. Why can't he eat with us?
After the election, he says. Saves argument, he says.
He's right. Come on.
Who argues? I don't. It's a waste of time. He'd vote for a pig if he'd had a blue ribbon round its neck.
With the bacon ration cut to 3 ounces, he'd be right. Pigs are more use than politicians. You can eat pigs.
What do you say to that, Dad?
Oh, women aren't really interested in politics, love it.
Aren't they? It's the women's votes that puts the Conservatives in, according to you.
Oh, yes. They'll vote all right, but they'll not study what they're voting for.
Here, take that.
Well, it's time I was off to work.
I'll tell him the coast clear.
Cheeky monkey.
Don't worry. It was nothing you did. Came from somewhere inside his head.
He's not one of my lot. There were 6 of them in the truck when the Japs picked us up. He looked in a bad way even then. They were moving prisoners back before the camps were overrun. But they changed their mind.
He doesn't seem to have an identity tag.
Some of the Japs don't like you to have identity tags. Makes you somebody. When you're taken prisoner, you're dishonoured. Less than nobody. Worse than dead. What did he say?
Couldn't make it out. Didn't sound like English.
She got one of her pupils in.
No, she's practicing for her concert in chapel next week. Not bad, eh?
Don't you stay out too long in this.
Don't you start fussing too.
Let her come for you.
Oh, thanks, Grandad.
Thought I'd keep it out of sight. Knew you'd not want folks prying, asking questions. From that young Warrington lad that stayed with us, is it?
Could be.
Oh, I thought he'd gone back to his unit in Germany.
Yes.
From London, that.
He must have posted it before he went back.
And you're not going to open it?
Eventually.
Ah, wedding bells in the offing, are they?
What do you think?
Won't know till we open the letter, will we? Nay, well, it's your damn letter. Keep it to yourself if you must.
That's what I like about you, Grandad. You don't pry.
You were telling me about England.
Ah, England.
We extol thee, who art born of thee.
Be serious.
Sorry, Mother.
Mother?
She believes it. She also teaches music.
Be serious.
No.
Waters, tell him to be serious.
Haywood,
Sir.
be serious.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I've forgotten the question, sir.
Tell the lady about England.
Which England? Your England? My England? The real England? Or the soldier's dream of home?
Your England.
You appreciate there's a difference, then?
Of course.
I'm not so sure I have an England. I have a place in my head that's part of a place called England. A gallery of faces. I'm the one in the middle, next to the dog.
This is you before the war? Can I have it, please?
I'll swap you for something similar.
Swap?
Exchange.
I'll go and get one.
Like a couple of young lovers, is that what you're dying to say? Delayed adolescence. Kind of thing I should have got through in me pimply youth.
What are you going to do?
Take her with me.
They won't let you do that.
I don't mean now, you idiot. She's relatives to the west. She'll have to stay there till the climate was right, till we stop hating the Jerrys. How long does it usually take?
Got it all worked out, haven't you?
More or less.
Don't you think you ought to tell her? The facts.
Started to break it gently.
Is there time for that?
You like them, don't you?
There were people like the Galways on our estate in Galicia. Sharp, but good. Sharp? Sharp? You say sharp?
I think you mean shrewd. It's more or less the same, I think.
Shrewd. Sounds better. I think it is the word.
Teaching you words. Your education. You've never looked at such as me in your own country.
It's a good thing that I am here, then. It's good that I am taught to see. It's good that I learn words like shrewd, so I can become an English gentleman. My mother loved England. The idea of England as she was taught. Fair play. Freedom. The safe little island. The English gentleman.
They're not all gentlemen.
No. But even so, to feel safe, as on a day like this, to feel there is goodness in the world, to feel that life can be good.
I'll bring Cole to meet you soon.
The boy? They will allow it, the grandparents? They will allow him to meet me, the enemy?
Of course they'll allow it. What does he know of such things? We're not the enemy anyway. Ukrainians the same as Russian, and Russians are allies.
It's only the same to the politicians, not to Ukrainians. I fought for the Germans, so I am enemy to England. And traitor to Russia, they would say.
Is that why the Russians want you back? To punish you?
You mustn't listen to such talk.
The Germans made you fight for them.
No one is made. I chose to fight, rather than to die in a concentration camp where they would have sent me. And I chose to fight Russians.
We'd call that Hobson's choice.
Hobson's choice?
No choice at all, it means.
Hobson's choice. Hobson's choice. I learn, you see. I learn. Well, here we are then, at the parting once more.
It won't always be like this.
They will allow us to marry, you think?
I told you, they're happy for me. They understand.
The people who rule, do they understand? Do they understand Hobson's choice?
Hey, Jean! Wait for me!
Don't run! You shouldn't run like that. Your mother will have a pink fit.
I just wanted to remind you that you're coming to eat with us tomorrow after you finish work.
Do you think I would forget such a thing, little one?
About the same time tomorrow, then?
I will be here, of course.
Right. See you back at the house.
Don't run.
Why must she not run?
She had scarlet fever when she was younger. It left her with a bad heart. She could go tomorrow, but she lives as if there was nothing wrong with her.
Maybe it is not so serious.
The doctor thinks it is.
And she hopes it is not. Hope is everything when you have nothing.
That print of your father's photograph I got for you. What did you do with it?
I fastened it to the door where other people have put theirs. The door for missing persons. There's the note that says, has anyone seen this man?
Your father went missing in Berlin.
He would come to me if he was alive.
To this house?
Yes, he knows this house.
Well, why put his picture in town here?
Because many old people have lost their minds.
Their memories, you mean?
Their memory, yes. Someone may see him. Wandering.
He might remember how to get to the town, but not to the house, is that what you mean?
Yes. There are people in the town who would know him. Perhaps from his visits in the past.
You're clutching at straws.
Straws?
I mean, it's not very likely, is it? I thought you'd lost hope.
I have you now.
What difference does that make to hope?
I don't know. A difference.
It takes your mind off it, you mean?
Yes. Yes, it takes my mind off it. Before I had you, I had nothing. When you have gone, I do not want to be left with nothing. The day you found me in the room downstairs, I came from the garden into my house. I wanted food. Yet I wanted to die also. I had no hope. Your revolver was there. You'd gone up the stairs and left it in the room. You remember?
Yes.
You came down again before I could take it. You stopped me. You gave me hope.
Reality, not hope. I should be going soon.
Soon?
We shall leave here. The Russians will come.
How could that be?
It's something that's been arranged with them at Yalta.
Arranged? You British are not communists.
There was a conference. The Allies divided Europe up. We're inside the Russian sector. We shall pull back and they'll move in.
You do that to us.
It wasn't something I arranged personally. I don't particularly like it myself, but it's the kind of thing that can happen when you start a war and lose.
You hate us, don't you, as a people?
Some things I hate. How do you hate a whole people? I want you to come with me.
It would not be permitted.
Permitted? We're collecting words tonight. Hate, hope, permitted. You've friends in our sector, haven't you? Relatives to the west? You could stay there for the time being. In time, we could be together. You could come to England.
England?
You could invade us. You'd make it. Hitler didn't. Why are you crying?
I'm not.
It's a sound offer.
Offer? It's not necessary that you do this. I'm with you because I wanted to be. It's not necessary that you do this to me.
It's necessary for me.
Why?
That's how it is. That's the reality.
Reality. A word, one more word. Hate, hope, reality. The word is missing.
What word?
Love.
Oh.
You have heard of.
Yes, I've heard of. My dad used to say something. I don't agree with a lot of things he used to say. But this one has the ring of truth about it. What you care is what you do.
Haben Sie diesen Mann gesehen?
Ja, schon.
Das ist mein Vater. Wo haben Sie ihn gesehen?
In Duisberg.
Duisberg. Wo ist Duisberg?
Circa 5 Kilometer von hier.
Und wann haben Sie ihn gesehen?
Vorgestern.
Sind Sie sicher, dass das
Ja,
da
ich
ist?
bin sicher.
Ja?
Sicher, ganz sicher.
Danke.
I'm George Hayward. We haven't met before. I thought I'd show you the way up to the house.
It is good of you to have me.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, yes, my birthday. I had forgotten it. Jean reminds me.
If you're going to talk like that, you're not eating with us. If George and I can accept it, and Peg, then I'm sure you can too. You understand me, don't you, lover?
Yes, well... We are, that's the last one.
We've come through a war. Millions have died. Your own lad was one of them. And you asked me to sit at table with a chap who fought for the Germans?
That's where you'll sit if you want to eat. There's no service in here. We want peace in the world, don't we?
You mean to say if I don't eat in there, I get out?
That's what I mean. And if you eat in there, you'll hold your peace.
Well, I'm damned. Are you listening, Lovett? So you'll know who to blame when the next one starts.
Oh, he'll know who to blame. He's more understanding than you.
Do you go along with this, Lovett?
War's over, Grandad.
Who's won?
We did.
And what have we won, Lovett?
Freedom.
Freedom, is it? I could have sworn we had that when it started.
Hitler wouldn't have let you keep it.
Answer that.
You've got a point there, Lovett. He'd no more let me keep it than your mother would.
Me?
Ah, they're all the same, these dictators. You've to think as they want you to think, not as the mind dictates. You've got to shut your mouth at table, else you get naught to eat.
You've got the choice. It's up to you.
Why did we win the war, Lovett? It's beyond me. We've spent up, and what have we got to show for it?
Like I said, freedom. Except a dinner table, of course.
Taking her side, are you?
I don't take sides, Grandad. I don't like sides.
What do you think of Mr. Athley, Grandad?
Peg.
Well, I know what he thinks of the Labour Party, but what does he think of Mr. Athley, though?
Can your dad stand to hear it?
I may not agree with everything that's said, but I'll
defend to the death your right to say it.
Yeah, well, all right, I would.
There you are, Grandad. You can't ask fairer than that.
Ah, but he's not mastered, is he? And I shall not get me pudding if I open my mouth.
You won't get in if you don't, Grandad.
Oh, making fun of me, are you? I thought you were a mate of mine.
More potatoes, Ernst?
No, no, please.
He means thank you.
He means please, don't you, Ernest? You've overfaced him.
Where's aching, Mum?
We'll finish your tea first and I'll see to it.
I'll see to it. I've got a certain cure for earache. Finish your tea first, though.
Tell them about the Russians and the Germans, Ernst.
I'm sure Ernst doesn't want to talk about the Russians.
I think he does. He's trying to be English, polite.
There's nothing wrong with politeness. Pass those plates.
Well, honestly, isn't there anything we can decently talk about in this house?
There's your mother's hero, Churchill. You'll be on safe enough ground there. And I'm prepared to keep my mouth shut for the sake of peace in the house.
I'll tell you what Churchill said about Attlee then, shall I? He said an empty cab drew up and Mr. Attlee got out.
That's cruel, Grandad.
Ah, but it's politics, lass. Having trouble with your mouth, George?
Ernst hates the Russians. The Germans, too.
Hates them? He fought for them, didn't he?
It was Hobson's choice. They made him.
Here we go. Satisfied, miss?
Is it right what she says?
Perhaps it is better we do not talk of these things.
They don't send folks to Siberia or worse in this country for speaking their minds. They just give them now to eat. And there's my bloody pudding gone.
Dad, just watch your language.
What did they do to you, the Russians, then?
Don't embarrass our guest, Dad.
Shouldn't we know what'll happen if we don't stand fast? Happen you'd sooner we didn't know. Happen, eh?
You are right. I should tell.
Now, look, don't you feel obliged to talk about something you'd sooner forget?
Forget? No. I shall never forget.
It's the others that want to forget, or don't want to know in the first place.
When the war came, first the Russians took our country. The NKVD came to our house. They called us boyars, nobles. We were only a small estate of little farms. They called my mother a bladyucha, a tart, and beat my father when he came between them. Then they took me into another room and beat me also. Before I became unconscious, I hear my mother screaming. The last I heard. When I open my eyes, they have all gone. I do not see them again. Perhaps if they are alive, they think I am dead. Sometimes, I too think I am dead. Then came the Germans. They took our neighbors, who were Jews, but us they left. I join others who have suffered. Worse. We try to survive. We sit in the firelight. The night is dark. Outside it is cold. We talk to make sound, so we will not hear the wolves coming down from the hills. We pretend we do not hear. We are afraid. We do nothing but talk, talk, talk.
Do you hear, George?
Well, what's your point, Dad?
You that wants to make friends with the Russians, like Lasky and your other mates.
Well, we're at peace with the Russians. We don't want any more war. I'm a Labour Party man, not a communist, but they exist, they're there, and we've got to live with them.
In your own fold, too.
No, we don't have communists in the Labour Party. The Constitution forbids it.
Ah, but you've got them, though. What's Lasky, then? And those other fellow travellers, what are they? Wolves in sheep's bloody clothing, that's what they are.
Dad, your language.
Do I get me pudding, then?
Shh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ernst. Happy birthday to you.
Very civilized, hmm?
For me?
Oh, for the family.
Family?
You, me, Blake. It's been like a family these last few weeks, hasn't it?
You have heard when you go.
We heard this afternoon, actually.
When? When will you go?
Tomorrow.
So soon.
Dinner is served. Yep. Flowers?
Well, it is rather a special occasion, isn't it?
You've told her?
I asked him.
Oh, right. I wanted to tell you later. I thought you might be upset at the thought of leaving home.
I cannot come with you.
What?
I cannot come with you. I cannot leave now.
Why?
My father. He's in Duisburg.
Duisburg?
It's a village, some miles from here. It's not too far. I do not understand why he has not come here.
I do. Duisburg's in the Russian sector. They probably won't let him out.
The woman did not tell me.
I'm not surprised she didn't tell you. She's probably heard what's going on.
Going on?
The Russians. What they're doing to your people.
I've heard stories.
Stories? You think they're stories?
Such stories are told in war.
The things your husband wrote you from the Russian front, you believe them?
It was the front. The fighting. The real war.
Real? Well, wasn't what happened when you were in Berlin real? The dead, weren't they real? Children, old people? You still think war only happens at the front?
The war is over. Over. He's an old man. They would not hurt him.
Maybe not. Maybe old men can survive. They play their cards right. Don't eat too much, don't say too much.
When they come here, he will be able to come here, or I can go to him.
You're a woman. Do you know what they do to women? They do what your soldiers did to their women. They do it very efficiently, to the death sometimes, without any sympathy or compassion because it's been burned out of their souls.
Such stories are told in war. Dresden was that compassion. Who are you, English, that you should condemn? Your shame makes you speak so of others. Tell these stories.
Were there ever stories about concentration camps? Were they? They were true. The truth was worse even. You could be forgiven for not believing. For God's sake, Waters, you tell her!
Blake's right, Herta. The stories are true.
Of course, Englishmen are too polite. Englishmen would never do such things.
It might just be that we've never really been driven to the war, but we're not practicing barbarians.
Not even after Dresden, you do not believe? What then? A romantic people, perhaps, who get what they want by pretending to be gentlemen. By telling people how much better they are. How superior.
Coming from a member of the master race, that takes some swallowing. By God, it does!
The war is over. It's done.
He'll be back. He's a funny man, Herta.
Ha ha funny? Or ha ha peculiar?
I'm surprised at you.
No, you're not. You all need saying anyway.
He wants his grandma to fix his earache.
Sorry, love, I forgot. Bring him over here.
Come on, then. And what Grandma's got for you, then, eh?
Now, I know it's here somewhere. Somewhere. Your dad used to think this cured everything.
Owen?
Ever since I first gave it to him. When he was much smaller than you, he'd ask for it whenever he was hurt. Ah, here we are. Marigold oil. But I was a bit of a show-off in my garden in those days. I called everything by its Latin name. Mum, I'm poorly, he'd say. Can I have Calendula officinalis?
Hey, what's it mean? What he keeps saying?
Don't know. It's Latin, I think.
It's me.
I thought it was...
I'm sorry. I didn't think. I'm sorry.
I said things to hurt you.
I know.
To hurt.
Yes.
All lies, not true.
Herta, don't stay here.
I must.
I couldn't sleep. Thinking about it.
I must stay. You know, you taught me. What you care is what you do, you
Nothing
said.
will come of it.
For him to come here, my father?
He's an old man. His life's nearly over. He wouldn't want you to risk yours for his.
Is there no place for the old in the world anymore? Your father, your mother, what would you do if it was them? What would you do? As I do? Yes?
We used to say the only good German's a dead German.
We say that too, about others. We say sometimes things we do not mean, because we do not think about.
I'd imagined a life for us in England. After 4 lousy years of living from day to day, I had some hope for the future.
Only because we lived together for a few weeks. In a house. It's normal people. Almost as it was before the war. The first woman you meet as a new life starts. I'm the beginning of your peace. That's all.
Maybe that's how it started. It isn't like that now.
Don't make it hard for me.
I must be sure you don't give up.
I will never give up. I promise.
That word that you...
No. Do not say. Save for when I come. Save.
They were angry with me last night.
Why should they be?
Some things I say, perhaps.
I like you. All of them. They're happy for us.
Доброе утро, фролайн.
Joined us, have you?
Where am I?
In the Suez Canal, heading for Blighty. Tried to tell you before, but you couldn't take it in. Feeling better then? Here, what's your name?
Name?
You didn't have a tag on you when they picked you up, they said. Japs take it, did they?
Haywards. 4344721.
Pity you didn't make it earlier. You missed your B2626. You're voting for.
What for?
The election in 2 days' time back home. They got to wait the best part of 3 weeks for the result because of us. Service vote. 3 million lots of bumps sent all over the world just so we can vote. Well, so the officer says. Don't like the look of either of mine. Civvies. Looks like Hobson's choice to me.
Well, thanks a lot. Sit up. They're all over the constituency now. People like us are knocking on doors saying, remember the 30s, remember the dole, remember the hard-faced men. We're going to win, Peg.
Wish some of the others were as optimistic as you are, Dad.
Oh, it's not optimism, it's fact. People are thinking. Party broadcasts are getting more listeners than the best of the comedy programmes.
Only because they've twice as many laughs.
Good evening, sir. I'm canvassing on
Mr.
behalf...
Warrington, isn't it? Young Mr. Mark? It's Moxon, sir. I was in service with your father at Lake House before the war.
Moxon? Yes, of course. How are you, Moxon?
Well enough, sir.
Oh, they won't need me again tomorrow, will they? I'm meeting Ernst.
Have to do without you then, won't they?
Where have you been all this time?
Helping at the committee rooms.
I'll just pop upstairs.
I'm surprised at you helping that lot. You don't agree with them, I know you don't.
Do you?
You won't lose inside if you did. They're shouting for Winnie from the rooftops wherever he goes. Country won't stand for it if Labour won. Never mind laughing, come in here a minute.
Give me a chance, I've only just got in. I must go and change my shoes.
Kettle not long boiled.
Good. I took my share of the tea ration, but not all the others did. Would you believe it? I've forgotten, they say. War's only been over 2 months, yet they're getting back to the mean old habits already, some of them.
Can you stand to hear some news?
News?
Oh, well, I knew you'd want me to open it.
Telegram?
Aye.
Keir?
Nay. Good news. You owe your lad.
Blake?
Owen.
Owen?
Aye.
Alive?
Can I give you one of these?
Let us face the future. Yes, indeed. But this is Labour, isn't it, sir?
Yes, of course.
You're canvassing for Labour?
Yes, I am.
But before the war, your father was the chairman of the Tory party in this constituency.
That's not really the point, is it, Moxon?
I'll give you this back if you don't mind, sir.
She's told Ernst she'll marry him.
She's married already. To your lad, who's alive.
What is it?
Okay, what's lad? Here? Yeah. Welcome home, lad.
You're ever so humble. We dock tomorrow then, eh? Thought they were going to keep us in this lock till Christmas. You're putting weight on. That's what they brought us back by sea for, you know. Put back some of the weight those little yellow bastards sweated off us. Your missus be there?
I reckon she will. And the lad. You were a toddler when I saw him last. You'll not know who I am.
Dad'll be waiting for me, I reckon. Mum died while I was out there. Wish I'd wed before I joined up in a way. Civvies will have had the pick of the women by now. Hope they save one for me.
Are we all right, do you think? I know they say we're all right. Will you tell them about the Japs? Don't sound right when you say it. Not like it was. Doctor asked me, and I told him. Best way I could. Didn't seem to like talking about it somehow.
I never want to see another Jap unless they put one in a cage in Regent's Park. Buy a bloody season ticket then.
Ah, there you are.
Howard George, ignore him.
Been to Conservative Club, Dad?
Ignore him.
Got the champagne out, have they?
Perfectly what we'll need before this lot is finished with us.
You know, I still can't get used to lights being on. I keep wanting to shout, "Put that light out!"
They're bright tonight, eh?
145 majority over all other parties. It's a dream.
Yeah, a dream.
Is that what you wore in the desert?
My army stuff's all that fits me. You should see me D-mob suit. Stylish, of course. Looks like a sack. How's the romance going?
Mind your own business.
If I hadn't met him in Germany and asked him to come and tell Mum he'd seen me, you two would never have met.
He's home today, actually. He's only stationed at Catterick. I don't know what his D-mob group is, but he thinks he'll be out before Christmas.
No worries? All plain sailing, is it?
Threw Dad a bit when he found Mark was one of the Warringtons, until he realised he'd found a political soulmate. He still only half believes it, I think, even though Mark canvassed for us. A Warrington on the left.
Sign of the times. We've had the reality, now we want the dream.
Cynic. What's your dream?
To join the club. You'll never beat 'em, except in an election now and then.
Defeatist.
I think you're a bit like me. But you won't admit it for Dad's sake. I can't do that, even for him. I've had all the state control I can stomach. I let them put my life in pawn for freedom. I want me ticket redeemed. Don't worry, I'll break it to him gently.
They'll be meeting Owen's boat about now.
Does Kia know that she nearly married the Ukrainian?
Oh, we're trying to pretend it didn't happen. I liked him. He'd had an awful time. She was his future.
Poor devil.
You said that with feeling.
Did I? Is he still at the camp?
I don't know. He left the Galways farm where they used to work. There was a rumour they were going to send them back to Russia.
God help him.
You said that with feeling, too.
I've had a taste of it. Someone I care for disappearing into that silence.
In Germany? Someone you met in Germany?
Yeah, in Germany.
Oh, fraternising?
That's a stupid word, Peg.
Sorry. It's a word you hear people use over here.
Over here they know nothing. Nothing.
Where's my breakfast? In the oven.
Going to get that boat bought from me, Hardy, are you?
I might blow some of me D-mob money on it. It's in damn good condition.
Oh, Arkadim. Who learned you to talk proper while you were over there?
Officer's mess, Grandad. Rubbing shoulders with the upper crust.
Ah, your mother likes it. Doesn't he talk nice, he says. Not like you and me, I love it. On the rough and ready side, you and me, aren't we, lad?
Look, the yolks, you should come when you're cold.
It'll be a hard yoke for the next 5 years while this new lot are in.
Unless you come when you're cold. Another late comer. It's in the oven. With a hard yolk. And a hard yolk for you, too.
Col likes a hard yolk. I'll get it, you'll burn your fingers.
Your dad's coming home.
His dad's coming home.
Yeah.
Aye, and I don't believe in miracles no more.
More like home, hmm? Sorry we can't give you a decent breakfast. I left my coupons at the diggers in Glasgow. Mummy's brought hers, but we haven't had a chance to go shopping yet. Oh, I shall want yours, by the way.
I'm not staying.
I thought you had a week's leave.
They're expecting me at Peg's house. It was arranged before I knew you and Mum were going to be here.
So last night was just a duty call.
Don't be an idiot. I wanted to see her. And Mum, of course. I've seen her once in the last 4 years. Not so damned often before that.
Well, that was one of Daddy's complaints. When she went down to London to do her bit in the ATS after the war started.
It's not the reason they separated, though.
Did either of them ever write and tell you the real reason?
Dad did, briefly. I'm not surprised she broke loose. Happened to a lot of women. She must have had a damn boring time playing Lady of the Manor for the benefit of Dad's county friends.
They look nice. Should my ears be burning?
No, of course not. Mark's not staying tonight. He's arranged to stay with his family in Whitstanton.
Oh? Find yourself a new family? Well, you could hardly say that we've been much of a family over the years, could you?
Rubbish.
Is it? Well, we'd better leave it untouched, then. What's the name of this new family?
Hayward. He's secretary of Whitstanton Labour Party.
Oh, that's interesting.
I met Moxon, who used to work at Lake House before the war when I was on leave last.
Very correct. Bowed to you from the waist, did he? I think I must have left my reading glasses in the kitchen.
I shocked him rather, I think. I was canvassing for the Labour Party.
Good for you.
Good grief, I thought she'd be as shocked as Moxon was.
I told her she'd changed.
Well, don't tell me you voted Labour, too.
Oh, my beliefs aren't political. I vote where my loyalties lie.
And that's what Moxon said.
Good for him. It's only a superficial wartime conversion, yours, you know, like a lot of the Labour votes.
You think?
Oh, I suspect hers is, too. The man she went off with was some sort of socialist. Fought in the Spanish Civil War. That's all I know about him. He'd just been killed in France the last time I saw her. She didn't want to talk about it.
You're probably right. About Mum, I mean, not me. She's probably a convert to George Bernard Shaw's The Intelligent Woman's Guide to Socialism.
I just hope it is skin deep. I'm not in favour of anything that'll work against the chance of her coming back to Daddy. You know where his political commitment lies.
Do you think she might go back to him?
I don't know. We've all changed, haven't we?
You?
Oh, yes. I had my war too, you know.
Oh, I know it seems stupid coming all this way and then not going to meet the ship.
I feel the same as you do, in a way. Why do you think I stayed here?
Because you didn't want to leave me. You wish you were down at the docks, really, don't you?
They won't be long now.
Oh, I feel such a mess.
You look lovely.
I meant inside. Inside me, I feel a mess. How can I face him?
You thought he was dead. We all did. 5 years. He'll understand better than any of us.
I can't tell him about Ernst.
I'm not saying you should, but you've got to stop feeling guilty.
Oh, such a mess I feel. Mum, I'm scared.
He'll need you.
I know. And I won't be there. In my head, I won't be there.
Grandad says your boyfriend's coming to stay.
I suppose he's told you his name, too.
Yes, he did. One of the landed gentry, the ironmasters.
He's not like that.
Oh, good.
Like you're implying, I mean.
Was I?
I know you. Well, I'm not going to let you spoil it for me, so don't try.
I wouldn't let even my views on the landed gentry spoil anything for you, Peg. You know I wouldn't.
He's not all that keen on his family, anyway.
Have you met them yet?
No, his father's still in America, and his mother's away a lot.
You know, they're going to find it hard to swallow, even in our new people's democracy. All this stuff about class going out with the war is eyewash. They're not even the nouveau riche, they're your traditional county types.
If you're trying to put me off, you're wasting your time.
I'm just saying beware, that's all. What does Dad think?
He likes Mark. He's prepared to leave it at that.
Aye, well, if I like Mark, that's where I leave it.
Promise?
I promise.
What are you going to do when you're demobbed?
I don't know, I'm dreading it in a way. Might sound odd to you, but in an awful sort of way, I enjoyed the war.
Awful?
Well, the whole damn business is awful, innit? We've got to believe that. And yet I seem to thrive on danger, excitement, conflict. I can't sit still.
I can remember how we all used to have to keep quiet because you were doing your homework. The only one of us to shine. Hours and hours you used to sit in there, night after night, as if your life depended on it.
Odd, innit? All that application for what? I knew a bloke in the RAF with a first-class honours degree from Oxford. He was brilliant. And a cannon shell smeared him all over the runway like jam.
Mum's hoping you'll carry on with your studies. Take one of these government grants for ex-servicemen.
Not a chance.
You'll have to do something.
I know.
You'd have been teaching now if the war hadn't happened.
Yeah. Imagine me in a classroom now. The thought appalls me.
I wish I could help.
Do you? How sweet. Don't let these people take you over, make you one of them. couldn't, though, could they? You've got a mind of your own. Does Mark know that? Eh?
Rose! Can we rest?
I told you we should have got the taxi. We haven't been able to carry half the things we need. And now we'll have to go shopping again tomorrow.
I like shopping in Whitstanton. It's terribly shabby. Shabby with the wear and tear of keeping the Warringtons in the manner to which they're accustomed. Or is that something else we blame in the war?
Never been a Warrington at heart, have you?
I'm not a Warrington by birth. When I married your father, it didn't make me a member of the club. The Kennel Club, I call it. You can't acquire a pedigree. Either you're born with it or you've had it.
I wonder if this girl of Mark's will be ready to go through it all if it comes to marriage.
Through what?
Becoming one of us. I have a feeling he hasn't told her yet that we're Catholics. All that heartache? All those tearing doubts?
Meg said you got to come and get changed.
I've not finished my butter yet.
I'm going to the station.
Sandwich yet?
Poor old lover. You'll get no peace till his dad's back, lad.
Peg said you got to put your suit on.
I only wear it on Sundays.
She said you got to put it on.
If I were you, I'd take that butty with you, lover.
Oh, come on then.
Why didn't Cole go with them to meet the boat?
Oh, he got up very excited. Bursting at the seams on account of his dad coming home.
Has anybody prepared him? What's he expecting?
How'd you explain to a young lad like Cole what goes on in a Jap POW camp?
Well, this generation needs to know. And Buchenwald, Belsen.
And what the Russians are doing now in Europe, in Poland, in Russia, we'll need to remember to tell them.
You've been reading the Tory press.
The Tory press doesn't print what I know, to their shame. Their honeymoon with Ivan isn't over yet. Mustn't upset our glorious allies.
My God, you've changed. Has Grandad been working on you?
He needs naught from me. He was there, he saw it. You've done an about turn, haven't you, the pair of you? You were t'other roads round, as I remember, before you joined up. What brought that about, then?
War, Grandad. 5 years of submission to authority.
You'd rather have submitted to Hitler, would you?
That's a cheap simplification.
War's over now. We're at peace, or should be. Your brother's coming home that's had more stick than any of you. So bear that in mind. He needs what we all need, peace. Bloody peace.
Letter from Germany for you. You saved that stamp?
Yeah, I will.
Well, well.
Pick me up here in a couple of hours. You go on down the coast road, you'll find a pub. We'll get the most marvellous meal. I don't think you'll find the war's changed it all that much. Anyway, you'll enjoy the drive, I promise you.
A friend will post this to you, should he be able to leave the Russian zone. For most here it is impossible. And I cannot give you an address at which you can write to me. I move from camp to camp, looking for my father. He was not at Duisburg, though he had been there. There are many like me, searching, looking for the lost. I think of you often, free in your England. I did not dream much in the past. Often now, I dream. In the cold, dirty places in which we have to live, because it is all there is, I close my eyes and dream. To escape. There are many like me, searching, looking for the lost.
England.
Aye.
Excuse me, please. Won't be a minute.
She's different from how I remembered.
Aren't we all?
Yep, all of us. She's quiet. Never used to stop talking.
She's just a bit overcome by it all.
Aye. It's a big day. It's a big day.
I met him in Germany. What makes you so interested?
He's got his eye on our little Peg.
If you ask me, it's our little Peg who's got her eye on him.
You know who he is, don't you?
On Warrington, you mean?
Dad's played Bob Cratchit to the corporate Scrooge of the Warrington family for the best part of his life. Underpaid and undervalued in a petty little pen-pushing job for those screwing sods.
I worked for them myself before the war.
Would you work for him again?
I'm going to have to, aren't I?
Your old job? Mechanic? Gonna find that a bit painful, aren't you?
And the rank I'm gonna miss. It's the company.
The camaraderie of war. I bet you a pound to a penny there'll be precious little of that in the peace.
Never seen it as calm as this, have you? When's your demob coming through?
Oh, God knows. I went in after you. I haven't a clue what I'll do when I do come out.
Ah, you'll be all right. Good grammar school education behind you.
It's not going to be easy, though, is it? Are you going to marry your Fräulein?
She's a Frau. But who told you? Peg. Yeah, I shall marry her when the barriers come down. Don't say anything to Mum.
Why? Because she's a German. I wouldn't let that bother you. We've already cut our bread ration to feed them. When we've rearmed them, rebuilt their factories, they'll be ready for another go. About a decade on my reckoning. We'll never learn not to trust. I'm going on to the station.
You're not going to wait for us?
I'll see you there. I fed the hens.
Like one of the family, aren't you?
Should I want to be?
Proposing?
No, of course not. I mean, when I propose, I shall do it properly.
After great heart searching and much forethought, you mean?
Isn't that what you'd want?
No. Put that back where you found it, will you?
Where's Kia?
Gone to the station. In a mood, I suspect. You two have been arguing.
Yeah, sorry.
Not sure I like this piece. You know you are with a war.
Hey, sun's gone in.
Just nearly made a fool of himself, that's all.
I'm ready.
You've been ready all day.
Come on then, off we go.
Can you take the shopping in? I'll tie back the roses while I'm out here.
Okay.
Oh, I'll need the scissors or a knife.
All right.
Beth,
I thought you were still in Washington.
the minister wanted me back here for a few days. I go back again next week. You look well.
So do you.
It seems an age since I saw you.
Yes, it's been a long time.
Well, your hair's different. Shorter?
Is it?
I've asked them to let me go as soon as they can. I ought to be getting back to the works now it's all over. Shouldn't you be asking why I'm here, how I got in?
Perhaps you have one of these things. It's called a key.
Why would I have a key?
The house is yours. You own it.
I don't have a key. I climbed through the window, as a matter of fact.
Isn't that called breaking and entering?
Well, entering, but I didn't break anything. Though I nearly did my neck. There were some papers I wanted. They were in the chest upstairs. I thought it was at the lake. But I couldn't find it when I went there, and I thought you might have it here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I told you to take anything you wanted, didn't I, when we agreed to separate.
What's it like at the lake?
Oh, like a barracks. Army hasn't moved out yet. Furniture's crammed in the stables. I wouldn't mind preserving some of the ditties written on the walls.
That doesn't sound like you. America coarsened you, has it?
Oh, the Washington round's not all that different from the old life over here, I think. I've enjoyed it. Some of it. I want to come home now.
Home?
England. Still green, shabbier, but comfortable in an odd sort of way. I walked through London yesterday. In the city, down by the docks, Uncle's old house. Or what's left of it. Just a bomb site now. I hope they won't spoil it when they put it all together again.
That funny old world we lived in. A lifetime ago. You'll find a lot of changes when you get back. Oh, more to come after the election we've just had.
The Americans will be appalled by Labour getting in. Just won't understand it.
Can you?
I think I can. I feel sorry for old Winnie, of course, bringing us through all that lot, only to be rejected. But I think there's more than one Tory who won't want the old gang back.
I'd forgotten how philosophical you can be about something.
They're not at all philosophical about others. I go on to Scotland from here to see Ros.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Well, why not?
Because she's out in the garden fastening the roses back.
She's here? Oh, my God, that's marvellous. And Mark?
He's with his new family.
New family?
She's getting cross with me. I promised to take her the scissors out.
She's written to me every week. There were times when I thought I recognized unhappiness between the lines.
She's been involved with the man out there. Married. Catholic, too.
Oh, poor Ros. So much worse when it's one of us.
Mummy, where are those damn scissors you were supposed to be... Daddy!
I love.
Oh, Daddy!
Cole? Hacked up your tongue?
Look at you.
What's wrong with me?
You ought to be resting yourself after that long journey.
It's only a few things.
Keeps your mind off it, does it?
Of what?
Happiness.
It's too much. It's all too much.
Yes, I know. I know.
I'd got it all under control. Trust you to upset things.
Now look, they're all back, all of them. For God's sake, enjoy it, you silly woman.
Daren't.
I can see a few clouds in far distance too, but it doesn't have to mean there's a storm coming.
Oh, you optimist. Always looking for a silver lining.
Where is he?
I think he's gone up to look at your room.
Well, everything's on the stove, and I mixed the dried egg and left it on the draining board.
Happy, Mum?
Well, don't ask her that, for God's sake. She'll burst into tears.
Oh, shut up, you. I'll go and see to the meal.
That's the trouble with happiness, Kia. You can never believe it's going to last, and life too often tells you you're right, doesn't it? When's your mob coming through?
God knows.
You'll be picking up where you left off, I suppose, with your studies.
I don't know that either.
Oh, you never used to have any doubts.
Well, war's unsettling, Dad. Turns everything upside down, spoils the pattern. It's very untidy, his war.
Well, it'll be the kind of world where brains will count. All these things we've invented to kill each other with, they'll need new skills now to put them to better use.
What makes you think we're going to stop killing each other?
Well, your mother says I'm an optimist. But don't sour your life by looking on the black side too much, Kia. You've got to take life as it is and make the best of it a lot of the time. You'd go round the bend if you didn't.
I don't want that old pre-war world back, Dad.
Your mother does.
She wants what she knows, what she feels safe with, that's all.
Why shouldn't she?
Is that what you give your time to politics for?
Look, I don't give up my time to politics because I enjoy it. Or because I get any satisfaction out of it in a personal way. I don't see myself as a crusader or manipulator. It's only a part of life. It's got to be seen to, but it's not a reason for living.
We're going to have a lot of arguments before it's all over.
But before what's all over?
The peace?
Same wallpaper.
Oh, yes. It's all the same. Well, you can't get the paint.
I used to look at it, out there,
Look at it.
at the camp, at night, in the hut in the dark. I used to look at it, in my mind, like Lurlam.
Lurlam?
Cole, when you were a baby, before I went away, when you put him in his cot at night, tired, you'd reach out for that bit of ribbon that bound the end. Touch it. Suck it.
Comforter. I'd forgotten.
One of the first words he made his own. Lurlam, he'd say. Where is he?
He's down at the beach with Grandad, I think. It's all been a bit much for him today. You do understand that, don't you?
How old is he?
Don't remember.
I remembered at first. And I got it mixed up. Like the wallpaper. It's the same. Except the bit at the end used to curl the other way.
Daft, isn't it?
I've forgotten things too.
Yeah?
I've put the things they gave you in the top drawer.
I think I'm all right, you know. They say I'm all right.
What smashing furniture.
It's mostly from the lake.
Nicked while the old man was in Washington.
Don't listen to him.
Oh, it's all right. I'm getting used to him now. It's all a bit of an act, really.
Ah, yes. Well, I get that from my mother,
Oh,
you
you've
see.
spotted his act, have you?
He likes to play shy sometimes, doesn't he?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, shut up.
Do you mind if I have a look round?
No, help yourself.
Oh, don't believe anything he says about me, will you? I vary according to the part he's playing.
In deep, are you?
Yes. Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
I thought maybe you were.
Dad back for good?
No. No, he goes back to Washington next week for a time. How long are you over for?
End of next week.
He was talking about you last night.
Oh?
About what you'd like to do when you've been demobbed.
I haven't the faintest idea. I have a choice, do I?
He thought you might like to start in the main works office at Silport. Well, just until he gets back.
Perpetuate the Warrington name in the family business.
It's natural he'd want you to. I told him I didn't think you'd be keen.
It'd keep me in the area.
Is that a good reason?
It's a good temporary reason. I'd rather not see him this time around. If you don't mind, I'll go before they get back.
He'll be hurt.
I'm sure you'll find some plausible excuse to protect him.
You weren't like this with Mummy.
Oh, Mummy.
Is it because they've separated that you've turned against them?
Who said I had?
That's how it looks from here.
I hardly know them, do I? All those years away at school and in the war. I just want to go my own way, that's all. Getting together again, are they?
What makes you think so?
Do separated couples usually go back and visit the old homestead together?
I don't know. I've never been coupled, have I?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I meant I don't know how they feel. I don't know.
Are my old books here?
Oh, upstairs in the spare room, I think. Some of them are, at least.
I'd like to take one or two back with me. Won't be a sec.
Are we going?
Apparently.
Oh, pity. I like it here. Do you think you could be persuaded to stay a bit longer?
I doubt it somehow.
Oh, deep psychological reasons.
Probably.
He's as soft as butter, really, don't you think?
Yes, I do.
What's this?
It's a crucifix.
Oh, well, heavens, I know that. I mean, is it a special one or something? I've never seen one like this before outside a church.
We're Catholics. Didn't he tell you?
You'll spoil your appetite. Don't they feed you in the RAF?
Not with luxuries like bread and dripping.
Well, I hope you brought your coupons, especially for meat.
Of course. Oh, this is what it's all about. Home. Being able to drift into the kitchen and help yourself to a nice big slice of bread and dripping. It's what they mean by calling your soul your own.
Is that what you've missed most?
You know what I've missed most.
Do I? Well, I better go and practice. I'm singing in chapel on Sunday with one of my prize pupils.
Blake says he's going back to his old job.
Yeah, he'll not be content with that for long.
Why not? What's wrong with getting your hands dirty?
He's ambitious. Look how he's got on in the army.
Not just an humble sarge like me.
He's restless since he came back. Goes walking along the shore, away for hours sometimes.
Dreaming of his Fraulein.
Fraulein?
Oh dear, have I said something I shouldn't have?
You did that on purpose, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Never could keep a secret, could you?
Don't believe in secrets.
Who is she?
It's a secret.
German?
You better ask Blake.
Oh, you. Will she be allowed to come here?
Who?
This German woman.
What German woman?
Oh.
Ow.
Come on.
Compulsory rest.
I shall go on my own then.
Please.
Please?
Please.
You're making the same mistake that Mum and Dad made in the beginning.
When I was first ill, wrapping me in cotton wool. I don't want to live like that.
It's just a sensible precaution.
I know when I'm doing too much, when I'm pushing it. I know when to stop.
You don't. That's the trouble. You just go blinding on as if...
As if I was normal.
I don't want to lose you.
I don't want to lose you either.
Me?
To God, or whatever doubts and uncertainties kept you from telling me you were a Catholic.
Who told you, Roz?
I knew there was something holding you back. I'd have proposed to you myself, except I thought you'd probably turn me down. What is it? What's the problem?
I'm a bad Catholic.
You mean you don't believe anymore?
I don't know.
Full of doubts and uncertainties?
Yes. Yes, doubts and uncertainties.
I can't wait for you to work it out, you know. I mean, not forever. It's not how I cope with things.
I know.
I don't even know what the problems are.
I don't want to believe.
But you can't let go. Not altogether.
Seems I can't.
And where do I come into it? What's expected of me to become a Catholic?
Father Ross would say so. Become a Catholic or be damned, he'd say.
You don't think I like Father Ross?
He's all right. I think you'd get on, as a matter of fact.
I'm not stuck on marriage, you know. Not desperate, I mean. I can wait for everything else. It's you I can't wait for.
You don't have to wait for me. God can wait. He's got more time than we have. We're the largest debtor nation in the world. Exports are 40% of what they were before the war. And yet we're spending 5 times as much abroad.
Won't we still have American aid?
I don't think so.
Why? Don't they love us anymore?
I don't think they realise what desperate straits we're in. Keynes is telling them we face an economic Dunkirk. They don't seem to take him seriously. Well, perhaps he bores them. So I'm boring your mother now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just awfully tired. I think I'll take myself off. Night, darling.
The minister's driver's picking me up at 8. I'll probably be gone when you wake.
I'm glad you came.
Yes, I'm glad too.
Well, I'll be off then.
Good night, Beth.
Good night, John. Safe journey.
Yes, safe journey. So good to be home. You have no idea.
Yes, I have. I'm home too. From miserable little digs, not a palatial penthouse in Washington.
Oh, quite a modest little flat, actually. I don't give a damn whether we're the largest debtor nation in the world. This is the only one worth living in.
You wouldn't think so to hear Mark talk about the condition of the working class.
He's become a socialist idealist, has he?
Oh, it's the fashion, isn't it? Goes with the times.
It's a fashion that was inevitable, maybe. We could be tried and found guilty of crimes against humanity for the poverty we allowed before the war. Better to get it put right than purge ourselves with an unproductive class war. It's going to take all of us, not just some of us. Especially the young, who've still got the energy. Were they expected all on a plate? I wonder. To see themselves into thinking that now that part of it's over, they can just sit back. The dream come true. Bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover.
I think Mark could be glad of a job in the company office at Silport if you could arrange it.
He's not averse to a little nepotism, then.
Oh, he's just a confused boy. I know he's been through a war, but it only ages part of you. Part of you just stands still, waiting for it to be over.
I wish I could have seen him.
Well, he'll be on his way back now. He only had 48 hours.
Yes, so you said.
I think he'd like what I'd like, really. What I want very much. For us all to be a family again.
Again?
Oh, you know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean.
It's what you want too, isn't it?
To put my own world to rights, you mean?
It wasn't you who broke it up.
No, but it was me who refused to recognize the need for changes. Changes of me, mostly. I'm a late convert to inner revolution.
You'll try?
Do you think you want it more than I do?
How was it today?
With your mother? Well, I can't speak for her, can I? Only myself. It's 5 lost years between us. All that business with that fellow, well, I never can remember his name. I found myself trying to study her face when she thought I wasn't looking. Trying to be reminded of other things. And I kept wondering, what did she see in him that I'd lack? Oh, it's a question I've often asked myself these last few years.
Doesn't have to be that kind of a reason.
No, it's the reason you believe when you're as aware of your imperfections as I've become. Mea culpa. Is there a word for people who become late converts to beliefs they're already supposed to subscribe to? I wonder.
There's something very different about her. She'll never talk about what she was doing. Coding work, she says.
Intelligence? Cloak and dagger stuff, you mean?
You see, you're amazed. You don't believe it. Well, neither do I. But it's not that I think she's incapable.
Oh, no. Oh, no, of course you're right. I was looking for the woman I'd lost. Well, perhaps she doesn't exist anymore. And yet I think I did see her once. Her face half turned from me. That young girl I met all those years ago. Acting a little in her own life even then, charming me. What was that phrase we used to use then? I love you more than all the world. As if the world was worth such loving.
Hayward. 4344721. Hayward. 4344721.
Cura! Damnita! Cura! Damnita! Cura! Damnita! Cura!
I had a bad dream.
I don't remember anything. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna get no sleep.
Don't worry about that.
There's another room I can go in. Oh, Christ!
Don't worry about it. It'll pass. Everything passes in time.
みんなよく聞け。ここから逃げようとする奴はダメここではもし仲の奴には
Yes, sir. Been out most of the night, but no sign of them. Except their handiwork. You'll excuse me, sir, but these are private woods.
Yes, I know. I'm on my way to see Major Roberts. I heard you shout.
Me, sir?
You didn't?
No, sir.
You heard the shout, then?
No, sir.
There was a car backfiring on the road.
I heard the firing, sir.
Oh, well. Some plays funny tricks in the woods. You new here?
Been working for Major Roberts since we discharged, sir. Just over 6 months ago. Stationed in the Far East when war broke out, sir. Taken by the Japs.
Long time to be a POW.
Yes, sir. A long time.
Can I give you a lift?
Just on my way to the bus from Silport, sir. Just over on the road there. Drops me near home. Thank you all the same, sir.
Yes, well, I'll be on my way then. Good day to you.
Good day, sir.
Go on.
Ah, you're up. Sleep well?
Too well. Why didn't you wake me?
5 o'clock this morning you got to bed. You look worn out after that long journey.
You had a broken night yourself, me waking you.
I'm a light sleeper. I was always the first to hear the sirens.
I was surprised to find Owen up when I got here. Does he always work those hours?
They've been having a lot of poaching lately. Meat ration being what it is, I'm not surprised.
Well, you seem to have filled him out a bit since I was last here. In spite of the rations. Has young Cole got used to him yet?
No, shrinks from him almost.
He'll grow out of it. How is he, Owen?
Still doesn't talk much. Sits there listening. Answers if he's spoken to, but rarely the first to talk. And never a word about what happened to him, what those savages did to him.
We dropped an atomic bomb on those savages, Mum. I wonder what they think of us.
Excuse him, what they did to your brother?
No, it's inexcusable, but so is what we did.
It shortened the war, Blake says.
Oh, Blake. They were ready to surrender anyway, I think.
You think, but you don't know, do you? And can we have you all together without politics, please? Starting from when your father and Blake come home for their dinners. Can we, please?
For you, even that.
There's something I want to tell you before they all come in. We don't want you picking it up somewhere else. Something that happened when the war was on. When we thought Owen was dead.
Jean met somebody, is that what you're trying to say?
Who told you?
Nobody told me. I came home on leave one weekend and she was going out somewhere. I thought then, hello, she's got a bloke. There was something new about her. She was more alive. I was very glad for her.
Yes, we were too, when we got used to the idea. He worked at the farm, Galway's.
He's gone now, of course.
He went before Owen got back. Whether he's still at the camp, I don't know.
The camp? For displaced people up the coast? She's well rid then. They were Ukrainians. They fought against the Allies for the Germans when Russia was on our side.
We liked him. He was a good man. I take people as I find them. It's over now, and we don't want Owen to know. That's why I'm telling you. Do you understand?
Hello, Mark. Owen. Ah, heck, how long have you had this?
Long enough to wish I'd never seen the damn thing. I blew the last of my mob money on it. Trouble with the timing, I think. Other things apart. I'm on my way to your place for the Whit holiday.
You're not going home?
Mum's in London. Dad's still in America. Roz is floating around Scotland somewhere. Where's home?
Mum's making a big day of it tomorrow. All of us home together for the first time in civvies.
Oh, hell, I'm going to be in the way, aren't I?
Nay. She likes a full house, does Mum? Any road. You're one at family now, so to speak, aren't you?
Could you crank it while I fiddle around inside?
Oh, I reckon I can manage that.
And keep your fingers crossed.
That right?
Where's Lovett today?
Gone fishing. Took sandwiches with him.
I wanted to go fishing, but he won't take me.
Well, he can't watch you and the fish. You fell in last time just as he got a bite.
He's accident prone, aren't you, Col?
Must you gollop your food? This family. I don't know what Mark must think of us.
Oh, I think you're lovely.
Oh, so we're lovely, are we? I must have my wrong glasses on. We look a damned awful lot through these.
Trust you.
Sorry, Mum, but I promised Mark I'd look at his car for him before I go back to work.
Yeah, you better be on time today. It's Togetherness Day everywhere except at the ironworks. They're on the lookout for that sort of thing there to stamp it out in case it spreads.
Watch it, Dad. There's a Warrington in the camp.
Sorry, Mark.
Well, I don't enjoy working for my family any more than you do, as a matter of fact.
You obviously get time off for special occasions. They call that nepotism.
I didn't know you were celebrating. I got off early because of the holidays. The rest are still hard at it.
Not their loyal white-collar workers, surely.
Everybody keeps their noses down when there's holiday in the offing.
Even the lackeys on the staff.
Would you mind saying that again, Keir?
Keir?
Sorry, I apologise.
Your apology's not accepted. You just insulted Dad, not me. He's staff. I'm one of your proletariat. A potential dictator according to your Marxist philosophy. I get my hands dirty. When you get your back into a job and do the same, you're not in a position to take up the arguments.
All right, I can defend myself, Blake. Keir was just using jargon. It was to imply that we're lackeys from choice. I've always looked at myself as a worker, earning a living in the system to bring up a family as best I can. I didn't make the system, Keir, and I want something better in its place, not yours, though. Not out of the frying pan into the fire.
You're damn right there.
Dad!
We're all together again, by God.
Please!
All right, I retract. Satisfied.
I would be if you meant it honestly, but you don't do you, Keir?
Come on, what do you know about
it? You understand? I said it now!
Well, I notice your plate's always clean. And Jack Spratt.
They're just words, Dad. Just words.
But you know what words can lead to. Better than any of us, don't you, lad?
Ernst? Mrs. Galway told me you were here.
They lost their man. Mr. Galway asked the camp for a man. He did not know that they would send me. I go back after the holiday. I promised Mrs. Galway I would not speak with you.
I promised to.
Right, Mark, about half an hour or so. Should we give it a run?
I don't want to make you late.
If they want to find me, think they can find somebody better. Let them. I've no family expecting me to pull my guts out for them for damn thanks.
Can you drop me at the library? I'm going to be later. I will be if you don't.
And don't forget your father's books, or he'll have nothing to read over the holiday.
Oh, all left-wing book club titles as usual. Do you know, they call me Peg the Red at library headquarters.
He's more to be pitied than blamed.
You've left half your dinner on your chin, Grandad.
Just in case I get hungry later.
I don't know why Mark comes here. I don't really.
Go and tell her.
Oh, shut up.
I'll see to this lot. Go on, off you go.
He thinks we're lovely. Can you make head or tail of it, young Col?
No, Grandad.
Here he is. Where are they, then?
What?
Fish, of course.
I didn't catch any.
They'll be the big un that got away, though.
The shoe that's always letting the big uns go, Grandad.
You've eaten your sandwiches, I suppose.
Aye.
But you're still hungry. I'll get a plate and help yourself out of there.
I'm going back after.
Can I come with you?
It's too dangerous for you when I go.
I'll take you fishing if you want. I've got me boots to finish.
I wouldn't mind a bit of fishing.
Your dad's been up half the night. He should go to bed.
You'll go with your Uncle Keir then, will you?
Yes, all right.
He'll need his Wellingtons. They're in the cupboard in Jean's, in your room.
Go on. Go with your old man and get kitted out.
Oh, no, love it. You catch anything?
No. You see how he shrinks from him? Why? When Owen used to come into this kitchen before the war, it was like a wind blowing in.
He needs time, that's all. Just time.
It's great! You're a magician. I am the genie of the lamp. Deep hair! Deep hair! Deep hair! Christ, go easy. Nearly finished up on the bonnet.
There's smoke coming out of our house.
Where?
The house above the Galway's farm. Smoke coming out of the chimney.
I thought you meant the place was on fire. Yeah, I see it. Get division on the RT. Give him the barracks.
It's supposed to be away for wit.
Division away for wit? God. Could be Jerry held up there, Carruthers.
You'd better go and check, I suppose. I'll drop you back at work if you'll get back in the car.
There's no need to give me a lift back.
You'll be late.
I've given 5 years of my life for this bloody country. Maybe I ought to find out what my credit is. I'll see if Jean's ready for a lift back. Pick me up on your way back.
Right. Won't be long.
Take all the time in the world.
It's Mark. I better recognized him.
Well, not surprising. You haven't seen him for 5 years.
Roz! Mark! Father.
Ernst Sevchenko.
That is my name, yes.
Blake Hayward. I'm Jean Hayward's brother-in-law. We thought you weren't here anymore.
I came again for the first time today. Mr. Galway had asked for someone. I asked them at the camp not to send me, but they are hard with us these days. After tomorrow, Mr. Galway will send me back. He will say I'm no good. I have asked him to.
It's a bit rough on you, isn't it?
It's not important.
You said after tomorrow.
Tomorrow is holiday. Mr. and Mrs. Galway asked me to stay. They are friends.
She'll be at home tomorrow.
Jean said that she would also come here for a time.
I shall ask her not to.
If you wish. I also have asked her not to come. I said I would go back to the camp today if she did.
And why are you still here?
She said that if she did not see me, tomorrow she would kill herself.
You believed her?
Am I not to believe her? What am I to do? Wait until she is dead to believe her? In the beginning, it was understood that her husband was dead. If it had not been so, this would not have happened. I'm from Ukraine, Mr. Hayward. I know pain, separation. I do not wish to harm your brother. You believe.
Yes.
Believe also that it will end between us.
I find
Even if I see her, it will end.
I find that harder to believe.
Yes. Some things are very hard to believe.
We were there for 3 months after Germany surrendered. When the Americans came, it was like Christmas.
They're very generous people.
They can afford to be generous.
Yes, but a lot of people who can afford to be generous aren't. Wouldn't you say?
I'll go and see about lunch.
Did you get my letter about your mother and I?
Yes, I got it a week or so after we'd landed in Italy, I think.
I couldn't quite tell from your letters afterwards whether you had. I didn't go into the whys and wherefores. These things happen in marriages.
Yes.
She's made it very cozy here. She never cared much for the house at the lake, you know. I do still keep an eye on things as far as I can.
Yes. I can't stay, I'm afraid. I've left a friend down the road. I've got to get him back to work.
I was going to spend the holiday in London, but when I found Ros here, we've decided to spend it at the lake together. Why don't you come too?
I've already promised my friends. It's been arranged for some time. I'd like to talk to you, though, about the job.
Not like it?
No, not really, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, it was something to put you on till I got back. Get your foot in the business. I'm completely out of touch with things there. Still, I'm through with the ministry at the end of this month, and I'll soon be back in harness. Why don't you drive up to the lake this afternoon? We can talk about it.
I'm not sure what people are doing, you see. I could phone you there.
No need for formalities. Just come or not come, as you feel.
Yes. Yes, well, I'll get off then and maybe see you later.
It's good to be back.
I didn't expect you to be here, you see. It's all been arranged.
Oh, yes, of course. Nothing's quite the same again yet, is it? End of a war. Lot of loose ends lying about. It all comes straight in time.
I'll say goodbye to Ros.
Nearly ready. Sticky?
He hardly mentioned his mother and I on the odd occasions he wrote to me. He's closer to her, of course.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think he's close to any of us. What is all this closeness that's expected in families anyway?
I would have thought your religion would have taught you that.
Oh, my religion. That old thing.
You slipping?
All the time. All that accumulated guilt. Forgive me, God, there's a war on, didn't you know?
We're out of touch, aren't we? All of us. It's my fault. All those years you were both away at school and then the war.
All those years we were away at school, you were paying for us to be educated. And of course, you were personally responsible for the bloody war, weren't you? Oh, I'm sorry, but women swear a lot more these days, too. It's something else you're going to have to get used to.
What's your mother doing now?
I don't know. Some sort of a coding job, wasn't it? Very hush-hush. Maybe they're keeping them on to burn the books.
She doesn't have to work, you know that, don't you?
Oh, well, of course I do. She's made other friends up in London. I suppose that's why she's staying on, really.
I nearly wrote to her when he was killed.
Rival for your wife's affections?
Not just her affections, I think. She used to leave me for other things before the war. Not physically, I mean. I used to be aware of it sometimes, of her. Out here in the garden, reading. What was it she found in books that we never seemed able to talk about? Why did I never ask?
You were in Germany during the war?
We were in contact with the Russians in the last few days. We pulled back to let them move into a place we'd occupied. I left someone there I cared for. There were letters for a time, but for almost a year now there's been nothing. People have moved to one place and another, millions of them. Europe's been cut up like a cake.
politicians and maps.
Yes, I suppose that was it. We were just following orders.
I would not like to grow old knowing that I had given such orders.
I've got my wages. We can go now. It's what you came for, isn't it? To take me back. I'll see you tomorrow. They say I can come. They've been good to me here. They've understood. Tomorrow, then.
Yes. Tomorrow. Thank you.
What are we waiting for?
Mark. He's going to pick us up.
Why did he thank you?
Trying to understand, perhaps.
I'm sorry. Owen's your brother. It's hard for all of us.
Nice.
I'm entitled, Lick Spoon, aren't I? Since I'm supposed to be in my second childhood.
You're entitled to be smacked and sent to bed if that's your excuse.
Is Owen all right?
Sleeping like a 2-year-old. He can sleep in the day.
Night's time for sleeping.
Jean says it takes him hours to drop off at night. She's woken well into the morning and found him still awake. I can't bring myself to ask what those devils did to him when he was a prisoner in Japan.
The Japs think you deserve to die if you let yourself get taken prisoner. It's not just their enemies, it's their own kind as well. It's against their code. They're obsessed with the shame of it.
Shame? Them?
I read somewhere that 100,000 died out of 300,000 taken at the start of the war. Not to mention what's happened since. Owen's lucky to be alive. Lucky to come back.
Has he come back?
Not as we remember him, maybe. None of us have. But we'd have changed if we'd not gone off. You notice it more when folk go apart from you, then come back. Your husband's changed as much as any of them.
George changed?
Aye, and he's not been away. And he's a damn sight more awkward for a start.
That makes 2 of you, then.
Ah, me, I've changed for the better, me. I live and let live. Put up with fools, though, God knows, I'm surrounded by nowt else.
A lot more generous than you used to be, too. I've noticed that.
Oh, you have?
More thoughtful towards others.
Ah, well, maybe you could be right. To a fault, you could say, I suppose.
Not likely to hang on to something you don't need anymore when somebody else is in need.
Oh, so we're back to my house again, aren't we?
Well, you could let Owen and Jean have it. They shouldn't be living with us for all with the room. And you're happy enough in the front room, aren't you?
Happy in the front room? How can I threaten to leave if I've got nowhere to go?
It's only a threat because George cares for you.
Ah, well, I'll think on it. You can't get a house for love nor money these days. Country's bust. And country will give him nought for what he's suffered. Aye, he can have it.
Oh, well done, Grandad. He's entitled to it.
And I suppose you think if you're in need of a house, you think you're entitled to it and all. Well, I won't give it to you. I don't like folk who think they're entitled to something they've not worked for.
Oh, nor had the chance to work for.
Ah, but they don't work where you are down in London. They walk up and down streets with bowlers on, carrying brollies looking busy. Where's young Lovett?
I left him fishing.
Oh, got bored, did you? Shoved responsibility for young Colin to Lovett because you got bored, did you? You're a bored generation, that's what you are. A bored generation.
He doesn't get any sweeter, does he?
He thinks he does. What's all you washing in that case?
Told me everything. I'm moving into a new room when I get back.
What sort of a room?
Same as last one, but cheaper. A bed, Table, chair, chest of drawers, a gas fire and a ring to cook on. What more could anybody ask?
You don't look after yourself down there, do you?
Oh, I get by. There's thousands like me in London, travelling light, self-contained.
I don't like to think of you living like that.
If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it, would I?
You had such plans when you were at school, and you were doing so well. What was it you wanted to do? That job in Africa?
Oh, colonial service. Sanders of the River. It was a childhood dream.
What happened to it all?
A war, Mum. Reality.
Oi! Where the hell have you been? I'll talk to you later. What time do you call this to get back? I make it an hour later. What do you make it? Well, Mercer came asking me where you were. You know what he's like about timekeeping. The bursting point, was he? Yes, he was, and you shouldn't give him the excuse. He's an unreasonable sod without any excuse. He's your boss. Siding with the bosses, Dad, a man of your principles. You shouldn't give him the excuse. Mercer doesn't like me because I had a commission in the army. Nothing to do with the work. When you've nationalised us, he'd still be here watching the clock. You shouldn't give him the excuse!
I want a love book for me mum and a thriller for me dad. And he didn't like the last one you gave me.
Shh.
When do you close?
I'm trying to close now. Keep making closing noises.
I dropped Blake at work and I've just taken Jean back home.
Jean?
We passed the farm where she works. What are you doing when you've closed?
Shopping.
Can it wait?
No.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow's yours.
I want to take you somewhere,
Mystery tour.
if you like.
Surprise at the end of it.
You're like a little girl wanting sweets.
Did I wake you?
No,
I thought you slept all right in the day.
I do most times.
You must be worn out. I'll go downstairs. Try and get some sleep.
Oh, don't go.
You can't sleep with me around.
I can't sleep without you.
I'm with you at night and you lie awake till all hours.
I go away.
Away?
Not just at night. It happened at work today, in the woods. Lay beside me.
Look, I should be helping your mother with tomorrow's dinner. It's a Thanksgiving, all of you together again.
Take up a lot of your time, don't I? Worry you? More than the lad.
No. No, you don't.
I brought back now with trouble.
No, that's not true. Not you.
Just for a while. Please.
Just for a while, then. You saying? At work today?
Work?
In the woods, you said.
Oh, aye. There was this chap. And he said he'd heard me shout.
Well,
I hadn't.
must have been somebody else then.
It can't have been. I'd have heard. But I wasn't there. I'd gone away.
Like I told you, like I do at night. It must have been me that shouted. Do I shout at night?
You have done. You did it a lot at one time.
I should see the doctor.
I saw him. I told him.
What did he say?
He got angry. Not with me. With himself, in a way. What could anybody expect, he said. What could anybody expect? You've been better lately.
Have I?
These last 2 months or so.
You're not just saying it.
No. No, I'm not just saying it. I asked him if there was anything could be done. If there was a cure.
What did he say?
Oh, yes. There's a cure, he said. Make the world a fit place to live in, he said. Fit place to live in. Fit place to live in. People want help of me. And what do? I do nothing.
No.
Oh, it is so. It's how we are. Selfish. Seeking what we want. Taking.
No.
I'd give if I could. But I've nothing to give. I'm drained.
No.
Forgive me.
There's no to forgive.
Forgive me. Oh!
Going for your wage, Haywood?
Yes, Mr. Mercer, I'm going for me wage.
There's something else for you as well. Your cards.
I see.
And not before it's time either, in my opinion.
No, mine. Have a nice holiday, Mr. Mercer. Mercer! Thanks.
Oh, God.
Come on. Come on. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Lovett seems to have taken to him.
Yes. I quite like him too. You don't really mind him being a wealthy Warrington, do you?
Oh, I'll live with it for your sake. Against you marrying, are they?
I don't think so.
Thought there might be some reason why you haven't.
There is. Not what you think, though. He's a Catholic. Seems to think it's a choice between me and God.
You should be proud of him. He had a terrible time in the war. He had a terrible time and he was very brave.
Are you proud of him, Mum?
Yes. Yes, of course I am.
Dinner's ready.
I'll go down.
He wants you to help him fly his kite after dinner.
Because you've asked him to.
He's got too used to having me to himself. He'll come out of it. I'll be going out after dinner. The Galways asked me to call. They were very good to me when you were away.
You'll not be long, will you?
I'll be back as soon as I can.
Cole's had me back for over 6 months now, Jean.
It's like I said. If I was to go, and he only had you, he'd turn to you.
George! Oh.
Hey, that's blasphemy.
Rubbish, that songs of praise. Genuinely, wholeheartedly, a hymn of thanksgiving for the best Sunday dinner I've had in my whole life.
And so say all of us. And so say all of us.
As much Jean's doing as mine.
That's nonsense.
Well, Col enjoyed it, didn't you, Col? He thinks it's the same as Christmas. That's why we're having Christmas pud.
I'm going to die.
What's the matter, son?
I swallowed the threepenny bit from the pudding.
Oh, are you sure?
I shall die.
And who says you can't take it with you?
Who's had threepenny bits in the pudding?
Well, me.
I got one.
There's mine.
2 I have.
Anybody else?
Well, that's 5. How many did you put in?
6.
Oh, dear. Is that little, Col?
Sick it up, lad.
Grandad, don't be disgusted.
Oh, don't worry, Col. It'll not hurt you.
I'll see to him. Come on, son.
Go on. Off you go.
Poor old Cole. When he realises he's not going to die, he'll wake up to the fact that he's lost threepence.
It were a fortune when I were a lad.
In Macawber's world, it was half the measure of happiness. Relatively, it still is.
Half crowns might be safer in next year's pudding.
All right, Cole was shoveling it down. He wouldn't have noticed a difference.
We're going to leave you.
Oh?
Not for long.
Mystery tour.
Back soon.
Thank you, Vince.
Can't think why he bothers going if he's that damned eager to get back.
I thought families were supposed to get together at holiday times. Where's Mark's family?
Well, he thought they were going to be away with his sisters at home.
His dad just got back from the States.
Oh, aye, the bloke whose lackey fired you yesterday.
It's lucky time again. Comes round like 12 o'clock.
Nobody fired me, Keir. I fired myself. As for Mark, he calls himself a socialist. Oh, God knows why.
More or less in the same way me dad does, you mean?
Together again, are we? Can't keep off it, can you? Into the other room with the other lot of you.
What have I done? I've said nought.
Only waiting to get a word in, though, aren't you? Go on, out you'll go.
You know we haven't said out.
Well, you can stay and wash up with the reward, then.
Oh, I know where I'm going. Down passage, that's where I'm going. Lucky time. He died on the cross for such as these, born in a stable.
I was born the draw.
Who told you that?
Grandad.
He's got you mixed up with Blake. Or was it Ramsey we couldn't afford a cot for?
It's a working class ambition, brother. Born to privilege. You were born in a cot to
Out.
genuine proletariat. You have to go on the door, right?
He's all right. I told him if he runs about it, we'll jog down faster, so you won't have any trouble getting him out.
You'll not be long, will you?
I'll be back as soon as I can. Where did I leave that shopping I got for the Galways?
In the hall, I think.
Hey, we'd never send them back to Russia to be shot or worse.
Well, the bloke in the pub works at the camp and he said it was definite.
Well, I don't believe it.
Definite, he said. He said one Ukrainian's already topped himself and some of the others are threatening to.
The Warringtons have always lived away from where their money was made, away from the dirt. Whitstanton's a place they passed through. Dad knows nothing of people like your father who work for him.
I came here on a school trip once. Looked at all the big houses. I wondered what kind of people could live in places like that. It scares me a bit, you belonging to all this.
I don't. Not at all. That's why I brought you here, to show you. Let you see it as I do. Alien land.
It's people that matter, not places.
Alien people, then.
What on earth did they do to you to make you feel like that?
Nothing. They did nothing.
Galways are disappointed in us, but they're too polite to say so.
I am ashamed. They trusted us.
Trust went out with the war. You should know that if anybody does.
Is this what you brought me to see?
No, of course not. Mind you don't fall. Careful.
Do you know the people who live there?
I'm on speaking terms.
Who's that?
My father.
We've all gone out for a walk. You were asleep. I said I'd stay and keep you company.
Some company may sleep. I'm sorry I'm so spiky these days.
How are you, making out down in London?
Oh. Mum's asked you to talk to me, has she?
Yes. But, I care as well, you know.
I'm a big lad. I'm supposed to take care of myself.
I can give you years, but there's scarcely a week goes by when I don't feel like shouting for help. What sort of future do you see for yourself?
Me or the race, the species. There's not much for any of us after the atom bomb. Oh, I know the political answers. Oh, I think I do, but I can't see them coming about.
Yeah, well, I've always believed in evolution myself. Revolution is a destructive force. I was going to say, look what happened to the Russians, but then you support the Russians, don't you?
Yes, I do, by and large. All through the war, I could see it happening. They were the good old Russians then, knocking the jerrys for 6. It's all changing now. Bevin's going to break with them, I know he is. There's an ice age coming.
His fault or theirs? No, I don't see things like you do. Look how marvellous Attlee's turned out to be. The work, the legislation. Huh? Oh, it's fantastic. We're turning the corner. I felt it all this year. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Somebody lighting the fuse. You're an optimist.
Well, that's somewhat I've always agreed with Churchill about. I don't see much point in being anything else. Well, what about you, anyway?
Tell me, Mum, I'm all right.
Yes, I'll tell her that, but it'll not be true, though, will it? You can tell me, you know. I can bear it. Well, I'm an optimist, aren't I?
I packed the job in before I came home.
Oh, I see. Look, I've never been too sure what sort of job you were doing. I've never liked to bother you about it somehow.
Oh, there'll be something else when I get back. Some other piffling work to keep the wolf 2 feet from the door.
Look, I've got a bit put by that'll help until you get fixed up.
Oh, Christ! God, Dad, you've already done more for us than any of us deserve, so just drop the load, Dad.
It's a father's instinct to do what he can. I can't go against my nature.
There is no future, Jean.
It's happened, hasn't it? What they said might happen a long time ago, but it was just rumors then. They're sending you back to Russia.
Rumors?
They shoot everyone who fought for the Germans, don't they?
There are just rumors, Jean.
It's not just rumours, it's the truth, isn't it? Well, what kind of life do you think I live with that to remember?
We've come a long way.
The tide's going out.
I want you to live on. To forget.
Forget?
Very well, then. Remember, as I do. I remember my mother, and my father, and my sisters, and my brothers. Who is dead and who lives, I do not know. But I remember them living when I was young. I did not think too much about politics, about the possibility of war, about death even.
I can't live like that.
Sometimes it is all the life there is.
Where are they?
Dad's taken her to see the library.
She seems to have taken a liking to him. Is that why you're looking so gloomy?
She likes everybody. She lives for the day.
Who doesn't?
There's a reason in her case. She had rheumatic fever when she was small. Left her with a dicky heart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me yet for telling her we're Catholics.
That's not a problem.
For her?
For me, mostly.
Doubts and uncertainties?
I'm not confessing to you.
She's not going to wait forever, you know.
I do know, thanks.
Well, there you are. Peg's going to sort out the library for me. I've been promising myself I'd have a catalogue for the best part of 20 years.
You've got some absolute gems in there.
Yes, I know. Mark used to spend a lot of his time there in the school holidays, didn't you?
Yes. That's where I used to spend my time. I see you've got the old steam launch out.
Yes, I've got a man from the yard working on it. Can't make head or tail of the engine, though.
Peg's brother would soon fix it for you. He's a magician with engines. Out of a job at the moment, too.
A magician with engines out of a job? And unemployment the lowest has been for years?
One of our blokes at the works fired him yesterday.
Well, Blake fired himself.
Do you want me to look into it?
Heavens, no. Mark's embarrassed, but he doesn't have to be. Blake's far too bright for a job like that. Oh, I'm not knocking your ironworks or anything, but he really did want to get himself fired. He was getting in a rut.
Sounds as if we could ill afford to lose him. Do you think you could ask him to look at that engine for me?
Yes, I'll ask him.
I think it's time we were off.
We've only just come.
The lights aren't too good on that thing. I'd like to get back before dark.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, Peg. Bye, Mark.
We should go back now, I think. The tide was coming in, not going out.
If that's all the life there is, I don't want it.
Come.
I don't want it.
Come.
I don't want it. Leave me. No.
I want to go back.
We've not long come out.
I want Mum.
Oh, you can put up with me for a bit longer, can't you?